Welcome back to some Saturday Ironheart Merchant Company. We return once more as you hear the rain in the background. No, that is not outdoor rain, that is a video, don't worry. We return though since last time we left off, and man, has a lot of shit happened off screen. Where to start? Well, last time we left off, the party, being short a Rolliman and Melvin, had decided to go meet with Great Grandpappy of the Frostbuster clan, and James's hope to get his approval to become the new clan head of Clan Frostbuster. However, to James's completely expected outcome, nothing went right. The plan went to shit, and everything ended up going topsy-turvy. And Rollman is going to probably die. But, to give him detail, as the party headed into the town meeting with Grandsire, they found out quite quickly what the price of his entombment inside the city of Frosthammer was. The price of a female dog of sorts that had been lost at some point and had something to do with his brother. The party, deciding quite quickly that it wasn't really worth going and looking for a creature like this, decided to head back and speak with the Frosthammers, meeting his advisor as well as meeting Lord Frosthammer himself. With a quick bit of diplomacy and some gift-giving, the party managed to convince him to let go of Grandsire for 10 mere pieces of gold, allowing the party to rub that in his face as Cinder looked forward to. As the party would go and pick up Grandsire, getting ready to leave, having Fist take him or carry him about given his slowness, James, having stood out in the hallway afterwards, discussing with Grandsire a few things and learning a few things, while Cinder decided to go in and meet with the advisor, though a strange advisor as it was, getting a few bits of information as well as something, or a little bit about what was going on. Cinder left with more questions than actual answers as the conversation would end. With Cinder, James, Grandsire, and Fist now, though, heading out into the streets, deciding that they were tired of it, Grandsire would flex his muscles and quickly teleport the party up to the surface world and away from the inside of the mountain fortress. As they would begin to head towards the ship with plans to go and meet up with Rolliman, the party would find themselves supposedly attacked by an individual that took on the appearance of Jakix, though none of those who attended and lived believed it to be so. Creature walking towards them menacingly, singing or whistling a strange tune, and then casting a strange spell that seemed to cause a random effect, instantly killing Grandsire within a strike. However, at the same cost of destroying whatever staff-like item that the individual that was disguised as Jakix was carrying. As this Jakix imposter would go down for the gemstone that would fall from the item, Cinder, quite quickly thinking on his feet, would manage to go and grab the gem and take off at a quick pace, realizing quite quickly that this was a king's tear. Give me a second, let me grab some water here. There we go. As James would turn and head after Fist and Grandsire, who decided to head for the fortress. Unfortunately, as James would get there, the imposter Jakix would teleport away, vanishing and leaving the two, Cinder and James, to investigate what was going on. Though Cinder deciding it was better to hightail it straight to the hideout location at the time. James, as he would get to the fortress, would see the doors open and see that not only Fist, but as well his Grandsire's bones had been left as the only things remaining of the bodies. Their skin, muscle, and even their blood and organs seemingly vanished, the bones picked perfectly clean. Unfortunately, as James didn't have much time to consider the situation, he grabbed the bones that he could, or all the bones that he could of his two fallen allies, and began heading back to the hideout, after sending a brief miscommunication that he would later fix. As the party, though, would return back to Stan Standerson's camp in the hideout itself, they would begin planning their next move, and after getting word that Rolliman was in trouble, immediately head after Rolliman. Now that was the downtime, or that was the main session. So for those who are keeping track on the other side, Rolliman, in a short stint of it, would take the fortress, with only 109 men and women, and only suffer about 39 casualties in total. Taking a fortress of 1,500, Roloman would find himself meeting with not only the messenger of Odger Sr., as he would begin to set siege lines around the city with his now 27,000 force-strong army, but on top of that, have an ally of one of the spiders. As the party would spend their downtime, Roloman would quickly learn a few things that will come up probably during session, but we'll let him keep them to himself unless he decides to point them out. The party has been informed of what they need to be, of course. The rest of Roloman's adventure, spending the next couple of days speaking with a messenger and trying to call for a proper meeting with the Odger Sr. of the Stronghelm clan, in hopes to parlay and maybe potentially get as many of the crew out of here alive as possible. Roloman would quickly devise a plan with the help of his advisors, of the crew mostly escaping through the tunnels after the Ironheart Merchant Company would arrive to clear out the sewer tunnel that they had come in through. While Roloman at the same time would distract and hopefully keep the attention of the enemy forces. However, as those plans would be implemented, the Ironheart Merchant Company at the same time, on the other side, would end up with Cinder doing something that would cause a massive influence on the world. As Cinder absorbed the King's Tear into his ice heart, not purposefully, but more by an accident as he meditated trying to understand the item and what could be done with it. As the King's Tear would merge with his ice heart, a power would be awoken, it seemed, inside of Cinder. Either something that had laid dormant there for a long time, or something he had gained through his life and adventuring. But as the heart began to meld with his chest, the King's Tear being absorbed by the icy heart that had been carved, Cinder would become Syndra, turning into an icy blue-looking snowbeard with white hair and blue tips, not much changing from his normal day-to-day physical appearance. His gender, however, would swap, and although he would keep his beard and his masculine frame, similar to Kez, he would now be more attractive to the eye for those who knew what he was. He would also, or she would also, begin to grow bluish horns, her eyes to be fully restored, and magic of immense power be gained. As this began, Syndra, before she would turn and transform, would look out over the ship towards the unfortunate stronghold, seeing things and magical auras of immense power causing her, or rather him at the time, to go unconscious and begin the metamorphosis. Over the day 2 of traveling to the Hardhelm stronghold, the Cinder would find themselves unconscious for the entirety of day 2, leaving James to plan and figure out what he was going to do as he worked tirelessly on a letter to try and work his way into a proposal with the Stronghelms overall. We returned back on day 3, Roloman having sent a messenger back to Odger Sr. after treating with him and making sure he was well feasted and taken care of, letting him know his intentions and plans, as well as with the Ironheart Merchant Company now returning only about a few miles away from the small stronghold in the mountains. As we return back to the party, on the day of, and I apologize as I just turned down my music a little bit, as we return back to the year 65,007, the month of the first moon, which is January, the day of the 28th in the morning in the stronghold of Helm Hold. Now, as we return back, this will be kind of a piecemeal thing because there are some parties that plan to move. So, as the morning sun breaks, we're going to start first with the Ironheart Merchant Company, as Roloman and his entire plan is kind of set on the fact of Cinder clearing the tunnels. So, as we return back to James and Syndra on the ship, on the day 3 in the morning, about a mile out of the city, you can see the massive lines around the stronghold built into the mountain. Much of it set into a plateau that seems to almost fit the entirety of an outdoor stronghold, clearly knowing that it burrows further into this mountain for miles if it's been set up properly. As you lot look over the sides of the ship, you can see a line of about 4 thick surrounding the entirety of this mountain. Snowbeards that are the size of almost 8 feet tall. Many of them looking to be wearing looks to be a mix of either full plate or chainmail and carrying hammers of sorts. As you look about, you can see a few that seem to be slightly larger that stick out amongst the crowd every so often, that look to be a little bit more powerful and well armed or armored amongst them. But as you lot come into range and begin to see the stronghold itself, even to now, you can see the camp of the 2 main banners clearly at the front of the stronghold, only about half a mile down the mountain. What would you like to do, James and Syndra?
Well, this is fucked.
I mean, I only have one job. I gotta get to that pipe.
Should we do a low sweep and drop you off then, or you want me to come with and assist?
Your call. I could get down there now if you wanted. Assess the situation.
Go for it. We need information at this point.
I will put James just as a point of contention, because you did mention your goal was to be peaceful, was to get peace talks going. Attacking the enemy army before you go to talk could be taken as a more disregard for honor here.
But gathering information isn't.
Sure. I'm just pointing out if you're sending Cinder to attack.
Gather information. Do not attack unless you are attacked first, and can. That way we have no issues.
Alright. As I will cast Frostfell Slide and vanish.
Okay. As Syndra kind of vanishes standing beside you, one of the rough bloods kind of leans down to you, James. You stand at the helm looking over the ship and looking out towards the mountain stronghold. As he leans down, though, and whispers in common, "Who's the pretty lady?"
That's my aunt. Cinder had to go somewhere far away, and she came to replace him.
He kind of nods at that as he looks back at the others and gives a thumbs up as the 2 other rough bloods seem to nod and smile at that.
I wouldn't recommend hitting on her. Beautiful is usually crazy.
You see, there seems to be a little bit of a cautious look suddenly on his face as you mention that. As you continue, I assume you're heading towards the main camp and looking for a place to put your ship down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would have made sure Syndra would have known that I would try to start with peace before going to slaughter.
Well, I mean, you have your letter ready to go, yeah. Alright. As you continue on your way, give me a spot check, James. $14. Okay. As you look on, you do see the clear banner of the spider down at the campsite, roughly counting about almost 1,000 in force. It's a pretty small camp, but you can tell even from this distance, many of them seem to be in glimmering armor that is sparkling in the surprisingly light or sunlight that seems to poke through the deep clouds. As the rain continues to kind of pour down. Looking about, you also notice Odger Sr.'s own large red velvet camp that has been kind of set up. It looks like at the front lines of the most of the siege lines. Ugh. But as you begin to kind of head that direction, keeping this in mind, not seeing Odger himself, you start heading off. Alright, Syndra, we're going to just go to you as you teleport down, leaving James to go find a parking spot, like any good aunt does.
She's going to teach me the ins and outs of the magical tax system later.
More looking forward to when she teaches you how to parallel park. But, as Syndra, are you just teleporting straight down, or are you teleporting onto the mountain where the snow is?
I'm
I-
just teleporting out of the way because I'm gonna have to work my way around to get to where the pipe is. I don't want to be spotted.
Okay.
I feel like the mountain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as you... So, a mountain is the idea? Alright, gotcha. So as you find yourself kind of looking over towards the snow near the rougher portion that looks to be somewhat climbable on the mountain, using your spell immediately transporting you over, you stand about 8 miles up from where the what looks to be the base of the mountain is. Only about 3 from where the sewer pipe seems to have a rough stairway going up to it. And you even from here you can kind of see seems to be carved into the side of the stone. Clear markings, even from this distance, also show indications that someone seemed to have climbed up the side of the mountain. As you kind of look about, most likely seems to be Roland's forces.
All right. I'm gonna cast 2 first level spells.
Okay.
Camouflage and Ice Skate
Okay.
to make sure I don't get. And I'll start making my way to the pipe.
For Ice Skate, does that include for balance checks, out of curiosity?
It makes me not have to make balance checks.
On snow, okay, I figured as much. Okay, perfect. Yeah, as you start making your way down, looking about, give me a spot check.
All right. Plus 12. Okay.
Perfect. You recognize the banners down nearby the sewer pipes I've set up that look to be the advanced force, recognizing the clan Big Bone banner of what looks to be a large, just blue bone painted on a simple background. Recognizing this immediately off the top of your head as the clan of giant slayers, those who specialize and hate the giants themselves.
Same.
But as you kind of see them, they have their camp set up. They don't look to be very armed, or they don't look like they're armed up and ready to go yet. As many of them kind of lounge about their camp, kind of working at their weapons or cleaning their armor. So what you can see, there does not seem to be any sort of scouting or guard patrol near the sewer pipe.
Well, I know James is trying a letter first. I'm just gonna relax back and watch for a while and wait for signal.
Okay.
Of any kind.
All right. As you kind of sit down and watch and wait, we'll jump back from you to Rolliman. Rolliman, my good sir. As you stand at the entrance to the castle, your men ready to kind of go, many of them beginning to get themselves their equipment together for the day, ready to go down below and make their escape. The few volunteers following behind you as the young, tan-looking Snowbeard, we'll call her, continues to kind of lead them behind you. Odger is still Junior is still next to you, but Drift and Stan have both volunteered to lead the forces out. Stan mostly because he doesn't want Pierre to open that sword, and Drift as she does not trust that they will not be ambushed. But as you stand at the entrance looking out, you were told to meet on the morning. While it is a miserable morning, seeing the dark clouds overhead, the heavy rain coming down, and the little bits of thunder kind of in the distance. It's a better day to fight on a battlefield than to die.
Yeah. Do I see anyone approaching, or?
As you look out, you do not.
And they said for meeting in the morning?
Yes.
Nothing, no details like that?
Correct.
Do you think your father's going to come to us, or do we head out?
Your junior kind of looks up at you and kind of shrugs as you hear his heavy plate kind of wrinkle a little bit from the movement, and goes, "If I was a betting man, he's going to make a grand entrance. And then he's going to scare the living hell out of us.
That's interesting.
But I think we should probably go to him, as it would be a lot quicker to get this over with than wait for him to make his entrance."
We'll wait a beat more, see if make sure that James or anyone else is in position. Don't want to be premature.
He nods.
I'll wait about 3 minutes and then we'll go.
Okay.
5 minutes.
All right.
Just one more quick check over my gear.
As you kind of start looking through, Odger kind of pulls out a sword and kind of seems to wet it down with a whetstone. As he kind of looks at it, eyes it up, and looks over at you and goes, "So, out of curiosity, you know, do you think James would actually make a good king?" As he like looks down his sword to see if it's got a straight edge.
James is a king. To be fair, I don't know the responsibilities of the king super well. But directly on the throne? I don't know. He's more of a merchant. He'd rather be out there than sitting on a throne.
Odger kind of nods at that, and he goes, "So we're stuck, outnumbered, fighting for a guy who doesn't want to be king." Then he sheathes his sword and goes, "I've had worse odds."
It's not to say that he has goals for the Dwarven Kingdom.
He nods at that and goes, "I gotta, you know, I figure this can't be worse than Lithotara fights." As he kind of like almost completely ignores what you said and kind of looks off in the distance.
We were safe away from the actual real fighting there.
Yeah.
Well, I am curious what it was like.
Hell is what it was like. I lost 12 men. Watched them go down under clubs. Watched their heads get tossed around like baseballs. Kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, baseball's it's a snowbeard sport where we take a rock, smooth it out, and throw it at each other."
Interesting.
He nods and
Maybe show me
goes.
sometime.
He kind of nods at that with a smile and goes, "Yeah, but it wasn't pretty. If I had to guess, my father's going to be the same." Kind of like pulls his last strap on and kind of like straightens out his plate chest piece and goes, "It looks like that's James up there on the airship," as he points up into the distance.
I just give a nod. And let's head out.
He nods as he follows after you, as the two of you start walking. Alright, as you start heading towards Odger Sr.'s tent, kind of seeing it clearly even on the siege lines, where the lines seem to be broken and what looks to be a pathway over seems to lead straight to his tent almost perfectly as you head that direction. We're going to pop away from you once again, Rollman. James, as you begin to head over, flying over the army, looking down, you start to hear hooting and hollering coming from the army down below. What sounds like antagonizing comments coming from towards you as you hear in Dwarvish a bunch of insults and slurs thrown up towards your airship. But no attacks, no javelins, no arrows as you continue flying past.
Have I been able to spot an area that I can reasonably get off the ship and have it lift off the ground a bit?
It looks like there is one behind the enemy lines, about a quarter of a mile behind the main camp as you look over, as you start heading that direction. It's going to take you a few minutes to get set down, but as you start heading that direction, seeing coming out of the stronghold, you spot as Odger Jr. in his fine plate that looks to be bruised and dented in slightly, Rolleman, and a small army of about 450 to 500 snowbeards start marching up behind him, heading straight for the big tent.
I'll be joining them there as quickly as I can, so...
Not Crack, but one of the Rough Bloods looks down at you, kind of smiles at you and goes, "Captain James, I have an idea."
What's your idea?
You gotta promise you will not cut our food rations if we do this.
It depends on if you go through the idea after I give an answer.
We tie your belt to the dinghy, as he points to the, basically what you've got set up of, I forget what it's called, a crane, there we go. Having your crane set up to where you can bring things up from the ship, and he looks at you and goes, "We get right next to Rolleman. You get on it, we lower you down, you jump off, and we fly off to go find some place to hide the ship." and then we attack from the skies if they decide to attack you.
I'd say circle back around to check and see if Syndra is ready, but
Can do.
that's a fair idea.
He kind of gives a thumbs up to the other two rough bloods who smile as he looks down at you and goes, "Perfect. Rollman's been teaching me to drive."
Actually, Chunga is going to be driving. She's more used to magical objects and using them.
And nods at that as he shrugs and kind of gives a whistle for one of the others to go grab her down below.
It's a use magic device, Roll Royce. I got an artificer for a reason, goddammit.
I know. But the rough blood, the two rough bloods above will start helping you over towards the crane and getting it ready for you to kind of be set off to the side of it.
Note to self: make a platform attachment for the crane.
Technically, you do have one actually, because you use it for your wagon.
Even better.
Yeah, because that was like a whole thing for your guys' wagon for a while. Yeah, as James kind of steps onto his little like elevator, big enough to fit a cart on, just kind of standing on it, waiting as the rough bloods turn and move the crane over to the side of the ship. James, as you look over the side, you are miles in the air as you look down.
I prepped Featherfall.
Give me a will save, James. Let's see if you've got a fear of heights at all. Not like actual heights, but like direct heights as you look down.
Dwarves were never meant to fly so high.
It's true. But don't worry, Rollman will catch you.
20.
Ah, perfect. As you look over the edge, while you feel a little bit of fear, seeing the army marching down there and realizing you could be in a massive war, which the stories you heard about your grandparents and parents going to war were bad enough, and one of the few reasons you weren't interested in the martial and knightly lifestyle, mostly because you didn't like the idea of dying young. That as you kind of look at that, kind of steadies your nerves for a moment as you take a breath, kind of knowing this could be your final moments and everything as you try to look cool. The rough blood seemingly not catching on as they see you kind of begin to be lowered. As you watch over the side, Unga Chunga seems to kind of pass by as she comes up on deck and heads over towards the ship wheel and begins to lower the ship. As this begins to happen, Rollman, as you see James starting to lower with the ship, Cinder from the mountain, you can see as James is being kind of lowered down. You will both notice as he begins to almost have this bright glow of an angelic individual, as his entire body seems to glimmer like a sparkling light in the dark cloudiness that you have all around you. The rain seemingly turning to steam and creating almost a more immense and godly-like imagery. James, as you look around, I mean, there's nothing going on. You're just waiting for this crank to go down. A little bit of wind in your face, a little bit of water, rain in your eyes.
Do I not feel this divine energy around me?
You, give me a spellcraft check.
Fucking.
Well, that's an entrance.
I think this is an impressive entrance.
Odgar Jr. nods at that as Rollman comments looking up.
I come in. I may as well be singing "Shiny" at this point.
Hey, you could. Hey, you know what? If you want to sing "Shiny," I'll give you a bonus for it.
No.
I actually love that song. So
it's a really good song and it fits the moment. But 16.
As you kind of look about, you just see people staring up at you, soldiers from both sides staring up at you, Rollman looking up, Odgar Jr., even Syndra is giving you a thumbs up from the distant mountain as you glimmer, though you can't see it due to their camouflage. But as you glimmer, you don't feel or notice any magic.
That's mildly disturbing, but I'll find it. I don't know anything's going on, so...
It's true.
People looking up at me in awe.
Yeah,
as you have all these eyes on you, James, feeling this, you finally feel like the grand merchant you were, and for the first time, this is a little more intimidating. For the first time, I don't want to be stared at. Please look away.
As the ship lowers, though, after a few more moments, Coming down about still about halfway between the two, the camp and the stronghold. The ship lowers down as you jump off, James. Give me a tumble check, just as you step off.
Parkour.
I have a -6 to this.
I know.
This is when you roll good.
This is the let's hope this isn't your glorious failure of a 0. Rather a -5 at this point. Because it'd be really bad if you
4.
as your super heroic interest, godlike divine magic is all around you. You see as James goes to step off, and as he leans forward, he slightly panics as he realizes there's no floor, like the ship didn't lower as fast. As he suddenly winds his arms up to the side and drops to the ground, catching himself thankfully without falling prone. But as he makes a bit of a clumsy fool of himself, kind of righting himself up.
Is there any way I can salvage it?
How would you like to?
Do
Do you have an idea?
Let me think for a second. I will disguise his tumble by throwing a daylight pellet.
All right.
As he impacts, it lets out a giant, burst of light.
Yeah, give me a reflex check here. Let's call it.
Reflex save, you said?
Yeah, reflex save. Yeah. See how fast you are. Syndra in the distance watching. As you see James about to fall, Rollman, as you turn, quickly grabbing into your pocket and tossing one of these things at James's feet. James, you are instantly blinded, but as you manage to catch yourself on the ground and look about, everyone, the enemy army that seems to be following, or the snowbeards that are following Rollman, start to lightly clap, and some of them seem to be look on in surprise and awe. As you look about and realize no one saw what just happened.
I give James a wake once his eyes clear.
I'll walk over and join Rollman.
Okay. As you begin to join Rollman, give me a second to roll for something. Okay.
I'm about to be stabbed, everybody.
No, there's no modifier there. You're fine. As you two kind of join together for a moment, Syndra, we're gonna jump back to you for a minute. As you see this glorious situation kind of unfold, the army seems to the troops begin to put on what looks to be their armor and begin to kind of form up ranks. Seemingly as orders are echoed to do so, but none moving forward from their siege lines. What would you like to do?
I'm just kind of hanging out near the pipe. I'm gonna see if I notice anyone, because I know I radiate power, and I don't have a way to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of just sit and observe whoever I can see and see if anyone can notice me just trying to act like they don't.
Okay. Give me a search check or a sense motive.
I think I'm better at sense motive.
Damn. All right. I will say amongst the crowd, there looks to be, especially amongst the group of what looks to be blue-skinned Erdrunner dwarves, which are the members of Clan Big Bone. Though you do notice there seem to be a few that march amongst them that kind of catch your eye. What look to be Genasi-like creatures that are slightly shorter, seemingly almost amongst the same height as the Snowbeards, many of them looking to be almost colored of the same skin, but noticing that they seem to glimmer, and many of them can't seem to stop looking your direction. And it's not as if they're just like the soldiers who are standing at attention staring ahead of them, which you kind of realize, okay, you could probably walk up to them and wave your hand in front of them, they wouldn't even react. But this lot, as you look about, they don't seem to be blinking as they stare over at you each time. In fact, none of their soldiers are blinking as you look at each of these.
Oh, this is so Einmoren's group, isn't it? It's that or an illusion. Give a little wave. Just want to see if anyone reacts.
Give me a second. For reference, current Rollman attire. Okay, got you. Thank you, Rollman. I'll come back to that to describe that in a second. As you wave, none of them seem to react. However, their eyes keep staying on you, almost as if they look back to the exact point every time, or as they seem to scan near the pipe, it seems to linger on you. Again, almost unnaturally for a length, but none seem to react.
We're just gonna have a weird stare at them then, because I was told not to act until I was told to. So,
Okay. I will say, can you give me a listen check real quick, just to see if you hear anything from the pipe?
you know I can do a listen check.
Because I assume you're not going to poke your head down to look in case there's something that can see you, but, you know.
No, for all I know, there's an enemy in there.
Or a giant Redford Smilodon that wants to eat your face, yeah.
30s are.
God damn tonight. Alright. As you listen in, you do hear the light coughing and the sounds of talking down the pipe. You guess probably still on the inside of the fortress, probably the entrance to the pipe where the group broke in through. You do recognize almost immediately Drift and Pierre's voices, and it sounds like they're arguing about something. Though from this distance, it's hard to catch what. Only catching little bits and snippets about something along the lines of keeping its furry. And I want it.
I can guess exactly what they're talking about. I was told there was one furry creature that was in that fort, and it's dead. So...
As you kind of realize that, thinking about it, listening to that. Alright. Would you like to do anything with that information, or are you just gonna kind of sit there?
No, because I'd have to go down there, and I'm not going to do that.
Alright. As Syndra continues to watch and observe both the enemy forces that keep staring at him, as well as kind of keeping an eye on James and Rollman, we jump back over to Rollman and James. As you stand there, James, looking at Rollman, him in his beautiful green suit made of this light green silk, still yet to be stained, still in perfect condition, his large bastard sword on his back, as he continues to carry. And am I correct in to assume that's Energia, Rollman?
It is.
Oh, okay. Kind of showing the finest of James's craftsmanship on his back as he has as the two of you continue, or the three of you continue walking forward. James, Odger Jr. kind of looks over at you as you kind of step over and kind of start walking with him and goes, "So, you have a plan, right?"
I have multiple. One of them does involve running away.
"Oh, good. So we'll be stabbed in the back. I cannot wait."
That is the last resort.
Where's Cinder?"
He's long gone. We have my aunt with us now, Syndra.
"Oh, you sold him to the Frosthammers?" So he looks over.
No.
I frown. What?
Something specific happened that caused him to leave. I'll explain, well, later, if we get through this.
I just nod.
We'll say James is kind of saying this without breaking really. He's staring straight forward and kind of saying this out of the side of his mouth as you three continue walking.
Odger, I do have a question. Do you know of any female siblings or cousins you might have?
There's like 20 of them. Why?
Great. That means the marriage proposal idea might still work.
He kind of laughs at that. Yes, that's a good one.
James is deadpan staring forward.
What was that, Rollman?
I'm afraid he's not joking.
As Rollman says that, Odger just kind of looks straight forward with a concerned look on his face as he realizes how fucked you all are. As the three of you continue walking with a small army at your back, getting about another fifth of the way there, you see as the large red tent flap opens up and out walks this massive, gray-skinned, long brown curly hair, heavy plate wearing, what looks to be 10-foot tall giant snowbeard, a huge beard going all the way down to his belly that seems to be as white as snow. As he stands there, a large hammer on his in his hand that seems to almost be pushed down into the ground to act like a walking cane. The handle kind of being palmed at the tip for the pommel as the individual walks out. A huge individual, even amongst his men, as he stands there. As he looks about with a smile on his face, a few of his glittering silver teeth seem to kind of catch the light from the torches of the camp. His hammer seems to glimmer as well with intense magic as he kind of looks about, smiling. As he tries to step forward, his massive, bulky frame kind of moving or causing the plate that seemed to almost grind on itself as it crunches and creaks. The shoulders beginning to crack as they begin to almost fall off as he walks. His walk quite slow and limping as he kind of uses his pommeled hammer to kind of as a walking stick, using the head of the hammer to balance himself as he goes forward. As he continues to walk forward, another what looks to be individual in full plate kind of standing behind him, about 3 feet shorter, standing about 7 feet tall, about 10 feet back from him, kind of follows up behind, carrying what looks to be a large black shield made of obsidian, as well as a blade made of palladium, as he stands there, armed and ready, but not moving, and back from you lot, as what you assume to be Odger Sr. comes forward. As he kind of comes walking up, stops about halfway through, or halfway up from the camp, coughs a bit as a little bit of blood spittles onto the ground, and he looks up at the three of you and the army behind you and goes, "Let me guess. You've come out here to fight me one-on-one." As he starts coughing again, kind of heavily hacking away as a bit more blood spittles onto the ground. As he kind of like wipes it from his mouth, a little bit of it getting into his snow white beard and being as bright red as it was, or as it could be, as he looks on at you lot and waits for a response.
Odger Stronghelm, I've come here to parley.
What's a damn knife ears thinking he's got rights to speak to me?
Well, I am the one that took this fortress.
Oh, you're rolling! Or rather,
Rolling.
Rolliman. That must make the fool beside you, James. Let's talk in my tent, how about? I promise that I won't kill you, although you'll have to excuse my old age. I'm not very good at killing as much these days.
No worries. Your name is Renown. I am curious. Is it true you can shoot lightning out of your ass?
He kind of chuckles at that as a little bit of red spittle comes down his beard and looks over at you and goes, with his pale eyes as he looks on and goes, "Oh no, but my hammer does. Every time I hit some with it, it just explodes with a bolt of electricity. Sounds and roars like thunder. Managed to put a man through a mountain. That's probably where the rumor got started. But you lot aren't here to hear old stories of my grandeur, and you're not here to bring my bastard son to a reunion between us," as Odger Jr. kind of frowns at that. Senior continues talking and goes, "So," now steps aside and like ushers to his tent and goes, "I'll have meat, drink brought. You're welcome to partake or not if you think I'd assassinate you. But please, let's just talk terms in my tent. It is too cold and rainy out here."
Of
I'll
course.
nod at Roland and lead the way in.
Okay. As
Although
you...
Roman thinks in his head, it's kind of weird that the snow dwarf thinks it's cold out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm just going with it right now. We are also kind of surrounded by many enemies right now.
Sindra, as you see this figure come out, your eyes almost immediately begin to adjust, and you see that this individual has a very strong 9th level illusion around him. He is, as you look on, in perfect shape. His physicality, you'd probably put equivalent to what Rolman will be at his peak if you, as you imagine him as a warrior. This guy is no joke as you get a sense of him. Go ahead and give me an appraise check if you'd like to check or get any information on him.
No, why not? I don't think I have any ranks in appraise, but why not, right? Worst case, I fail and get nothing.
It's true, it's true. I mean, more baffled by the fact of how intimidating and this individual seemingly trying to put on an illusion to make himself look older and more decrepit. Kind of almost at a loss, surprise watching this as you do. Also, as you focus more on your attention towards the potential actual threat as you look about, watching for any spiders amongst those in front of you. All right.
I mean,
go ahead.
James wouldn't fall for the illusion. I mean, he's known to be a powerful warrior today. He's not going to be packing up blood and mold, and no, they won't fall for that.
Syndra says, and James gets a weird shiver down his spine.
James sneezes. Who's thinking of me?
Yeah, right? Alright. Syndra, as you continue to watch them head into the tent, are you going to be doing anything?
No.
Just continuing to pause and watch in the background?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, as you continue watching, we jump back over to James and Rolman as the two of you head within the large tent as it opens up into what looks to be its own pocket dimension. The tent expanding out to what looks to be a large feast hall fit for a proper lord, what looks to be minor throne made of stone and carved straight out of the rock itself. A nice plush chair or cushion kind of sitting on it. A little bit raised up about 5 steps over so it can look over the long table that could seat 30 to a side. What looks to be unseen servants start to kind of walk out and begin setting food and drink out, as you can hear barrels uncorked in the background and what sounds like meat being chopped up and cooked in boiling pots in the background. As the Odger Stronghill continues to guide you, stopping his son or his bastard son from coming in and only allowing the two of you within. As you three enter, he goes and takes a seat on his chair, or at his throne, as he beckons you lot to take a seat on either side of the table closest to him.
Alright. I'll take the seat opposite of the entrance so that James is the easiest way out.
Okay. James, you were saying something?
I guess I'll go take one of the seats then, so that we can get these discussions rolling.
As you go to sit down, seeing what looks to be heavy bits of this winter boar meat kind of set out, the smell of cranberry sauce kind of rolling over it, and the smelling of cooked pheasant and birds of different origins kind of laid out. Bits of beef, even hairy mule is served amongst the table. All different sorts, almost 27 varieties of meat from what you can count. As alcohol is brought out, a dark ale is sat in front of you, as well as a dark red wine kind of sat to the side of it, as well as what looks to be a glass of water sat off to the side of that, as he looks on and smiles and goes, "I do apologize, I do not like to eat on an empty stomach. My old age," as he coughs again, a little bit of blood splattering off to the side of his stone chair as he sits there, as he looks up and continues
like
hacking.
to roll a heal check on that blood.
Feel free.
Most diseases that cause that usually equal death within a year, so...
That's true. That's true. Let's see if James can catch what this is. Not literally.
Do not get sick, James.
Yeah. James isn't licking
23?
anything. Nice. James, he is faking it. This is not blood from a or from some sort of internal disease or wound. He is purposely forcing himself to cough blood.
Odger Senior, could you please drop the pretense? You're known as a mighty warrior. I don't believe subterfuge is your specialty.
Kind of pauses as he stops coughing and kind of holds his hand down with a little bit of blood and wipes it onto his shirt as he wipes it away. As he starts to kind of smile and starts to let out a bellowing laugh as he smacks his gut that sounds like a war drum banging as he does so. as the illusion drops and you see this physically peak warrior, muscles everywhere, scars and wounds, but the clear sign of someone who is quite capable as you look him up and down, as he kind of smiles at you and as he stops laughing and starts and kind of lightly taps his chin and goes in primitive and in a dialect that James and Rollman you both recognize as Elvish, as he goes, "Oh, but James, I do enjoy a good bit of theatrics, and you've ruined my fun. It's like those people who like to tell me and make me feel bad about the genocides of those clans that decide to try and rise up against me. They make me feel terrible until I turn and look at my gold count, and then I smile and feel all warm inside about their deaths."
I don't speak primitive, so the only one hearing this.
Ruthlessness is a winning trait in some cases.
What language do you say that in, Rollman?
I'll say it in Elvish.
Okay. As Rollman speaks back and he looks over at James and smiles and goes, "Oh, he doesn't speak the tongue, does he, young warrior?"
No, why would he?
"Educated fools," as he switches to common and switches to dwarvish and goes, "Would this work a little bit better, young James?"
It would. I've only managed to master the swears and curses from that tongue.
"It's a beautiful tongue, one that I picked up when I was learning Sylvan, Druidic, a few others. Now, if I may ask you, I see no reason to make peace with you. I'd much sooner kill you, enjoy my fun, let loose a little bit. I hear you even have a powerful caster amongst you. I would love to see if I could take their head before they could hit me. It would be a good chance. I haven't fought a strong caster since I took down Uthgarm's father. So, please."
Oh, none of us are as strong as you. That's one reason why I prefer peace.
"Is that true, Rolliman?" as he looks over at Rolliman.
I will say, these tales of this rolling are blown out of proportion. Who did you hear them from, might I ask?
Traveling bard, here or there. They came through the territory spreading tales of some individual even managed to slay a nest of hydras, and I must admit, I'm not impressed by your appearance."
Looks can be deceiving, as you so now tried to point out.
"Very true, but I do not doubt at this point that I could easily take your head within a second or two. It might do some damage to me, but if I'm understanding your abilities correctly, which I doubt I am not," he looks you up and down and goes, "I think that you are expecting to get a hit on me and hope that it's enough to impress me, but, well, I promise you I'll take your head for just managing to damage me. I don't like my pretty skin cracked," as he wipes his finger down one of his scars across his face. "So, how do you think you can convince me not to just wipe out your entire upstart clan here and then start on the Frostbusters and Treasure Horns and wipe them out too?"
Well, there's 3 reasons why I don't believe that'd be wise.
"Alright, I'll humor you." As he pulls out like a long pipe of what looks to be this nasty material. James, give me a heal check real quick before you start in on it. Because this might actually influence what you say, so. Or you can give knowledge nature if you have that, but I figured heal you have better, so.
My heal is better for
Damn.
24.
You recognize this as he is smoking plemlium, a poisonous flower that specifically causes you to basically start losing intelligence and wisdom the longer you smoke or ingest it. The stuff is also known to do actual poison damage when applied to a wound. For your own knowledge, most commonly this stuff grows amongst like lesmium and rosmium.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that if he was making himself cough up blood, he has an open wound inside his circulatory, or inside his breathing system already.
Correct. As he takes a long smoke of it and like breathes out this purple gas into the air.
Do I have any frame of reference for how long it takes for the wisdom and intelligence drop to kick in?
Usually within a round, the initial round to infect someone, it would begin. So within this round, he should. That is, of course, assuming that he doesn't share the common Snowbeard trait of being slightly poison resistant and disease immune, or disease resistant.
We are poison resistant, not
That's
disease
right.
resistant.
Poison resistant, yes. So,
which makes it easier to save against poisons that we would normally come across. He's willingly ingesting it into an open wound. I don't think that's normal.
as you kind of take an account of that, either he is very constitutionally strong, and he does this to feel something, or he is weakening himself as you take a guesstimation to fight Rollman fair one-on-one. Either way, as you realize this would be bad. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. First, I have garnered the backing of 3 powerful world leaders, just to ensure that things go a little bit smoothly. They would all be pissed, and it could start an all-out war and would lead to more damage than you'd care for.
He nods to go on.
Second, I can handle things that you deem annoying. From my understanding, you're not much of one for caring. Well, you enjoy your coin, you don't care about putting it to work for yourself. And you find it bothersome.
His face does not seem to change emotion as he continues to listen.
Third and finally, we killed... From my understanding, we didn't harm anyone from your clan. It'd be dishonorable and would make the nobles that are already on edge from the multiple disappearances due to the Venka selling people to turn on you. And while you may be powerful, destroying every other clan would be difficult even for you.
He nods and goes, and you think that, what? They're going to bow down to me if I don't kill them all? I mean, it sounds quite fun to me. Rollman, don't you think that it would be a great laugh to go around killing the champions of each of these clans and houses, showing them your might?
Isn't that beneath you? If you feel you need to prove yourself? You've already accomplished much. Is bloodshed all you seek?
Kind of laughs. He starts to laugh at that as he smiles. He looks back over at James and goes, "You've trained this one quite well. Go against his actual beliefs just to help you. Impressive, my young man. Maybe you are worth my interest. It's not often you get to train savage knife ears to do such quaint and great deeds."
So, for that, I have an offer, as James will pull out the marriage proposal letter, set it on the table, and I assume one of the unseen servants will take it to him.
Oh, they do not, as he looks at you and goes, "I don't read your dwarvish tongue. Read it for me, out loud, and make it clear so I understand what's going on."
Character straight face player is sighing at this. As James will unfold it and read, "To Lord Stronghelm, I, James Reg Frosthorn, am hoping to bring our houses together in matrimony by marrying one of your daughters. As head of the Ironheart Merchant Company and member of the Treasurehorn and Frostbuster clans, I hope to discuss this with you in person, and I bring a gift for such an esteemed house. Given the current time of unrest with many minor nobles vanishing, I wish to have both of my clans be under your protective wing, while my trade network supports your grand power in battle."
And looks at you and then looks at Rollman and then kind of looks back to you and goes, "So, let me understand this. Marry one of my daughters, claim this stronghold as yours to serve under me. Your clan, I read back your clan claim against the Treasure Horns and Frostbusters, bringing 2 more powerful clans under my belt without having to kill their leader, or if they resist, I kill their leader, put you there, and all is hunky-dory. And then, on top of that, you support my wars with coin, ensuring that my men never go hungry, they're armored and armed, And that should I want to challenge, you will make sure the coin is there to back it. Is that my understanding?
Generally, yes. Although I'll try to set up the trade networks to run autonomously, that way I can continue my travels.
Looks at you and kind of ponders as you strokes his beard as he switches over to primitive Elvish and looks at Rolliman and goes, Knife ears, I must ask. You are a great champion, well worth at least the your species' entire complementariness, as truly you are the peak of what your species can obtain. I find myself curious. Do you believe that this James individual would stay loyal to me if I attacked his clan and killed them? If I decided one day that they were a problem, and would he still serve me as my advisor and make sure that my coin is kept? Or would you think that he would turn on me at that point, killing me as was his right for his clan?
I believe anyone that betrays anyone deserves revenge, first of all. Second of all, you believe me at my peak?
He looks at you and goes, It's not what I asked, and I think you're missing the issue here. Your master, do you believe him to stab me in the back should I kill all those he loves and care about? Or do you think he would still serve me loyally, without question?
He would not stab you in the back.
Give me a... Are you lying or are you telling the truth from
I'm
your
telling the
perspective?
truth.
Okay.
From my perspective, he wouldn't stab him back, but he would definitely take to kill him. Just not assassinate.
As he kind of say this, kind of looks you up and down and nods and speaks in Dwarvish again and goes to James. Your companion, servant, whatever, says that you wouldn't kill me if I killed all of your clans and everyone you cared about, like your uncle that's standing in the stronghold right now, like your captains of your entire company and industry, like the little young Nada that I have sitting in my dungeons right now. Do you agree with this, James? Or does your servant lie to me?
I think he may have misunderstood the question.
So you
I'll
tell
put it
me
this
he's
way.
stupid and you surround yourself with the dumb.
No, he's a very straightforward person. If you think about his, depending on what he said, because I couldn't understand it, it would lead to maybe he answered your question just more in a direct manner.
He says that you would not kill me, and that tells me that you are weak. You have no backbone.
I said he would not stab you in the back.
He looks over
Hearing
at
that,
you,
James would
smiling.
smile. I wouldn't stab you in the back for killing my clan, for taking what's mine. I would outright destroy you. Even if it took me the next 100 years to garner the power to. I would have you begging for mercy. Because you do not touch what is mine.
Give me an
That is
intimidation
the only
check.
reason I came back to this clan, to this land.
Give me an intimidation check, James.
Can I assist?
No, because you not in this situation.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. This is on James to succeed or fail.
Yeah, I don't have a high intimidation, guys. My +1 really coming in.
Could be worse. You could be Rollman watching you fail to intimidate.
I don't think I can imbue myself with.
As Rollman's like trying to give you pointers, like by moving his face to try and point out.
I can do something to make this a bit better.
There's no favorite in guild here.
Oh no.
That'd be funny.
As James will imbue himself with magic.
What are you gonna use?
Divine Insight. So this will be a 13.
Okay.
Plus 13. Thank you, Divine Insight! Fucking hell!
Nods at you as he smiles and goes, All right. Well, then we're going to test this. Convince me that you're going to serve, and serve by your word. I hear you have a problem with an individual. I have captured an individual. Kill him here. Show that your backbone is strong. And I shall let you go free, choosing whatever daughter you wish that is not already wed. And I will even give you this stronghold, promising you an army of 1,000 to defend it. Or,
It would depend on who the individual is that you've captured.
if you fail and refuse, I'll turn this stronghold into such a bloodbath that your dear friend who's invisible over the sewer pipe right now will find themselves begging for your lives. Do we have an understanding, James?
We do.
Perfect. As he snaps his fingers, and out comes what looks to be. Let me pull up my note here for this. A simple individual that looks almost surprisingly Snowbeard-like. But their skin a pasty white, their head and face completely bald, their body expansive with magic. Though it doesn't seem like the same magic you know, James, being familiar with. Give me a spellcraft check.
I didn't want to use a spell, and I don't want to use another one, because if I'm gonna fight something, I'm gonna be fucked.
Okay.
19.
You do not know, or you cannot identify where you've seen this kind of magic before, sadly. But as you get an idea, this individual seems to be on an equal caster level with one of the Morans. Though right now it's hard to interpret which one as you look at him up and down. As these two large snowbeard giants come walking in, this individual's arms completely locked in what looks to be this beautiful bluish glimmering metal. As he stands there, the snowbeard looking about, his mouth having a magical seal covering over it, and his feet also seeming to have these same blue chains. As he stands there, his body looks normal otherwise, wearing commoner's clothing. As he looks about, no scars, nothing to make him stand out, other than the fact that he is completely shaved bald, both on the chin and on the head.
What color are his eyes?
His eyes are a bright... give me a second. Yes. His eyes are a vibrant and bright, deep purple. And I do specify deep purple.
No ordinary purple.
Correct. This is not the same eye color that Cinder described, or Syndra, I guess now, described.
Do I recognize this individual?
Roland, give me a knowledge, nobility, or I'll take history, or you can try to go for profession mercenary.
I'll do profession mercenary, because that's the best I've got.
Alright. Let's see what you got.
A 50?
You have never seen this person before, and there's no sigils or distinctive markings to recognize them as anything else, or of anybody of you individual power. Kind of looking him up and down, he looks to be built like a common soldier. The fact that, though, the only thing that does catch your mind is that snowbeards, no matter their subrace, do not shave their beards. It is the greatest dishonor. It would be the equivalent of basically losing your manhood and walking away. The fact that this individual stands before you completely shaved, it means that he has either done something extremely heinous or there is something immensely wrong with him. But otherwise, nothing else comes to mind. As Odger looks at you, James, and goes... or kind of stands up, walks down slowly, taking each thunderous step as it almost sounds like he's stomping as he walks down, his heavy foot kind of almost smacking into the stone and cracking it as he walks down, walking over to you. He sets down, or he pulls to his hip, grabbing a dagger and puts it onto the table in front of you and goes, "All right, do what you must do."
Do I recognize this dwarf in any other way? Or is the loss of beard really that fucking big of a deal?
You can give me a knowledge, nobility, or history, or a profession merchant if you want to see if you recognize this individual as anybody important.
I'll go profession merchant because that's my best roll for this. Just on pure wisdom score alone, thank you. 22.
You have never seen this individual before. However, recognizing this race, this looks to be one of the very rare and very few dwarves of the Underdark. One of the creatures, not a Duragar, but there's an old term that is not exactly kind language used for the exiled ones. A term for those who had magic of the mind and those who would manipulate and attack other Snowbeard houses by causing their leaders to make poor decisions and breaking their mental abilities. They who were banished as due to the fact that they were too dangerous to the other clans, hunted and pushed into the Underdark until they left the lands. However, that was a long ago bedtime story that supposedly existed. These things haven't existed forever, and only the one clan that you've heard note of looking or acting similar to this are all the way in the Cracked Lands, another continent away. As you look on,
I'll do what I must, but I do have to ask one simple question. Who the hell is this?
he smiles, and before he says anything, we're going to pop over to Syndra. Syndra, as you see two large Snowbeard giants kind of walk away from the tent, and the general's tent, Odger Stronghold's tent rather, kind of seemingly walking off, kind of keeping your eye on them as you look, keeping as the most notable thing that seems to be going on as the rest of the troops just form up lines and wait. Not as the battlefield kind of grows quiet, almost with tension. As you see these two guards walk off, they begin to come back a few moments later with a strange figure, even from this distance, that looks to be dwarvish from the size of them. Give me a spellcraft check.
With pleasure. This is going to be the one I roll bad. Watch.
Natural one, here it comes. We're waiting for it.
Yes.
No.
That one.
Absolutely not.
As you recognize a large spidery aura coming off of that individual, you can generally tell this individual's caster level roughly to be around about 40 to 50 from what you can tell from this distance. He looks to be, or from what you can tell, this looks to be one of the more powerful amongst the other spiders you were able to see. His magic even more immense than your own.
So what? That knocks off 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, presumably, because 3 is currently in the... This is 4?
Remind me, I don't remember. Is it Cinder or James who went over to and did like the little stint over in Zebral's lands?
It was Cinder.
Oh, it's Cinder. Oh, well that actually adds to it. Okay, cool. I thought it was James, so I was holding this for James. Never mind.
I went there to make a statue.
Cinder, you would recognize this magic. It is not arcane, nor is this divine. This individual is a psionic, and one that could probably equal Zevral in proper power just from psionics alone.
Oh, it's 2. Well, that sucks. I had no deal with him.
As you continue to watch on, as he is taken inside the tent, vanishing, are you going to do anything?
I'll start smoking my pipe to get buffed, because I feel like someone be dragging that. That's probably not a good optic for what's about to happen.
That's fair.
But I can't. It's not like I can rush in the tent. I'll probably swing at me. Just show up.
That's also true. So you kind of watch taking out your pipe, and what are you putting into it?
I believe Lesmium is the mana flower.
Okay. Yep. All right. As you start grinding up one of your lesbian flowers from the ship's I always forget it, James. What's the bug thing called that you have? The like observatory
Crane?
thing. No, like
Oh.
no, I know the potion cream, the little thing that you put the insects into.
Terrarium?
Thank you. For some reason, that word never sticks in my head. I never played Terraria. That's probably why.
I just
So-
remember it because I also had a terrarium with a fish in it at one point.
See, I had piranhas like a normal child. But as as you look on, kind of seeing this, as you begin to crumble the flour into, or the dried flour into the pipe, and begin to light it up, watching as you do, give me a wisdom check, please.
Wisdom this time. Alright.
And note that your wisdom will be boosted with the material, of course.
16? It could be better.
Okay.
Rolled a 9.
As you kind of look on, thankfully, nothing seems to happen as you kind of keep watching, your eyes kind of peeled as you take a deep pull from your pipe, blowing out, exhaling a very beautiful and glittering blue smoke as we jump back over to James and Rolliman. As you two... oh, hey. James, good news. Your cousin is here to judge and make fun of you. Just in the background, though. You know he's always watching.
Saw him waiting to jump in to listen, so I dragged him.
Oh, alright. Oh, cool. That works. Doesn't bother me as long as you want to be down here. Alright, yeah. So as we were, James, as you kind of look over, wondering asking who this person is, Rollman looking him up and down, kind of getting an eye for him. Odger Strongholm speaks and goes, "A spy of the enemy camp that we found amongst my men. He says he was working alongside the Ironheart Merchant Company, and I found that not to be true through some, well, kinder means than what I put you through." As he smiles down at you, James, "if you prove to disappoint me. So, will you cut the spy's throat, prove your backbone? Or will you show me that you're the coward I think you are, and that I should invest in someone else?"
I have no clue who this is. The only person that has all the knowledge on spiders is not fucking here.
Nope, they're wisely smoking a pipe on a nice mountain in the snow, looking off over a sewer pipe.
I was given a different task and not told to come with.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Roman?
In a rocking chair.
Yeah, right. He's just thinking back in his day, the nobles were a lot kinder and actually talked to each other instead of putting armies together and killing.
On the off chance that this is a Morin, stabbing them won't kill them very easily.
In your perspective, James, Jakix might as well be a fucking god with the amount of times you backed down and had him cornered.
With the amount of times he's been a cocky asshole when I've really had the upper hand, and then I just walk away.
Yeah, you as your mind kind of goes through this, general experience is Morans don't die with a single hit. They generally always have a plan. If he is a Moran, as you look at him, kind of concerned, then he will probably attack back or do something, and he wants to be here. This is not something that was a random chance.
As James will grab the dagger and say, stabbing him might be exactly what he wants, if I have any inkling of who this is.
Odger smiles and waits for you to do it.
I'll look to him.
Well, Harper should go down if bad things happen.
Roman's tensed, kind of making sure he's able to get to his blade as quick as he needs to. Hey, hands on the table.
I look to the suspected Morin and say, usually spiders don't die easy. Don't hate me for this, I have to save my own skin. As I stab him.
Alright, give me a d20 plus 25 to hit.
Big boy dagger.
Kind of. This dagger
Isn't
only.
he essentially helpless since he's bound?
Don't do you want to coup de grace this guy?
No, but I
Okay.
was wondering. Is it plus 25 plus my strength then too?
Correct.
Okay, that's plus 27.
He's strong boy.
46. As that
One time I get a
hits,
fucking 19 to hit.
as that hits, give me a d6 roll, please. It's the best hit James is ever gonna get this entire game, guys. Take note now. Take your screenshots while you
this
can.
is James's first kill.
As
Maybe
James,
a 7 if you add in my strength.
as James walks forward with the dagger, kind of taking a step forward, saying this as he does under his breath. Odger Stronghold kind of laughing at that as he hears it, as Roland kind of puts his hands down the table, just so he's ready to push away at the moment's notice and grab his blade to be clear and ready to fight. As he looks about, eyeing up the unseen servants, noting no guards in the tent. As you watch James pull the blade across the individual's throat as fast as he can, and the guards kind of look on, surprised even through their helms showing on their face as they watch the individual's throat begins to slice and this blackened blood begins to fall loose onto the ground. What looks to be the two purple eyes falling out of the head, and the body begins to just fall over, compulsing as it does. And Odger looks over at you and goes, I said kill him, not torture the poor body, you sick bastard. I like you for that, though. You have a good bit of macho for that. Alright, bring me back my dagger.
I'll walk over and hand it back to him.
As he kind of sheathes it, as his men kind of look down at the body, look back up, and kind of begin to drag it out. You see as his dagger is slightly glowing once he takes it, the blade kind of glowing until he sheathes it, as the gemstone
I'd like to roll
glitters, yes.
Arcana or spellcraft on that to see if it stole the soul.
Yeah, give me a spellcraft.
18.
Alright, let me pull up my note for this.
I've seen enough soul magic.
You have. Yes. So, you would. Yes, actually, because I think Cinder told you about this spell specifically prior. You would recognize this is the same spell, though at 9th level, cast on someone that aims to mimic enslave ritual.
Okay, it's a Morin. They can break that. That's a weekend.
As Odger just smiles at you as you kind of look at him up and down, the gemstone at the hilt of his blade kind of glimmering. His body seems to slightly look like it gets tighter, younger. His beard kind of grows back a little bit. His back straightens a bit. His muscles growing larger as they do. As he kind of smiles at you after putting the blade in the sheath, as he looks down and goes, You, James, are alright. You know what? Bring in your gift to me, and we will talk terms about how long, what you want for the stronghold, and which daughter of mine you'd like to marry. I think this is going to be a fruitful relationship. As he smiles, a toothy smile, a few more teeth now showing as if they've grown in.
James would have grabbed the gift before leaving because this was something he was hoping to give before more got in the way. But as James would pull out 50 pounds of mountain giant leather.
As you pull this out and set it down, he kind of looks at it and smiles and goes, Oh, and you even understand true noble customs to pay your betters. James, I truly think that Ironheart mythos is completely wrong. You are a great and competent merchant and understand how real power works in this world. As he comes over and starts looking it up and down. Okay. And he kind of smiles and looks at the quality, kind of unraveling it as he holds it up, and hands it off to an unseen servant and looks back at you. All right, and with that, we don't need to have a siege. Let's have a celebration. A feast in your new stronghold. How about? you get your group together, clean up the fortress for tonight, and then me, yourself, and your crew all have a nice, enjoyable meal together in your new keep, and you can meet the family.
That sounds lovely.
I hope you won't mind my men kind of camping out here, as it's a pain to get them back to the castle and all organized and
Mobilizing
deorganized.
this many troops leads me to believe this was a trap preset and we just happened to bumble into it anyway.
No, I was actually getting ready to send my men over to fight Frosthammer. Yet, decided to reject one of my daughters, well, that wasn't going to be helpful.
James is going to smile. Really? He's entertained the idea of one of my clan. That's why he called peace just recently.
Give me...
This is true.
I don't know. Give me a diplomacy check. That's fair.
I can get rid of Frosthammer. This is so much nicer. 18.
He nods that and goes, did he now? That was a lesser clown. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind. I do appreciate that. But I think you lot should be on your way. I've got information to gather, letters to send out, alliances to deal with, and the paperwork to sign to make sure you're not killed by one of my sons. Oh, and tell the bastard he should to come in next. I have some things to speak with him about.
If I may ask, just don't kill him. It's hard to replace captains.
I won't kill my own blood.
I'll nod and be like, okay. I'm definitely sense motivating that. How truthful is that?
Sure.
I don't want to lose a captain because I've lost enough in this bullshit.
Fist was a worthy sacrifice.
17.
He doesn't seem to be telling a lie when he agrees to it.
Alright.
As you nod, and the two of you begin to kind of head out. Rollman, I assume you're going to follow James out?
I'll do that.
Alright. So the two of you head out of the tent. Syndra immediately kind of spotting you two as you step out. As you two do, though, Odger Jr. just kind of looks over at you and goes, so, what did my father have to say? Are we fighting? Are we dying?
I'm now family.
Oh.
I'm looking him dead in the face.
Alright.
And he wants to see you. He said he wouldn't kill you.
Kind of pales slightly and goes, oh. Does he?
Good luck. Pat on the shoulder.
He kind of looks at you as he gives a glare, like a warning there, goes, yeah. I guess I'll go in there, as he kind of like opens the flap and like slowly walks in, closing it behind him. As the two of you are standing out and about, what would you like to do?
I'll start walking back towards the fortress and tap the Earring of Sending to tell Syndra to meet us either out front or inside. I suggest out front.
As you hear this, Syndra, as you see James and Rollman walking off, what would you like to do?
I mean, apparently we're not fighting. I'll go meet up with them, I suppose.
Okay. As you kind of using your snow skating to get around the mountain and head over towards the stronghold entrance. It takes about a good 20 minutes between the three of you before you manage to get back together at the past the ravine and over what looks to be the small stone bridge that's set to be about 60. I think it's 60 or 40. Yeah, I was thinking 60 feet wide. as you come over, seeing Syndra coming down the side of the mountain as they ice skate through the rocky terrain. The snowbeards that you lot had marched down, seemingly kind of turning back and following you lot back up into the stronghold as the tanned snowbeard continues to follow after Rollman.
Do I recognize that as a Morin at least?
Give me a spellcraft check.
Kind of stands out at this fucking point.
She does look to be a unique commander. Your first guess is she's either an Azerblood Snowbeard, meaning one of the clan. Let me pull up my note.
13.
Damn.
I got all my good rolls with fucking Stronghelm. You know what? I can take this.
Right. Yeah. So give me a second to pull up my notes. Ba-bum. Because I know I have it listed in here somewhere. For which one was? Oh yeah. Recognizing the this is a similar look to a silver blade, to be fair, which would be an Azer blood snowbeard, which is basically someone who looks a little bit darker skinned and looks like they've gone to moors, as the joke goes. Many of them sporting a scared or frightened face permanently. But with that roll, let me take a look. 13. They look to be as if they could be a desert dwarf, which would mean they were part of the House Bronze or Clan. Is it House or Clan Bronzebeard? House Bronzebeard, or from what you can tell, they could also be of the House Clan of Deathweed. So I'm going through my list as I'm looking at these. It does not look to be, from what you can tell, anything special about the individual, but with that spellcraft, they look to be roughly a caster level 10 overall.
Still more powerful than me. Fuck.
Alright.
Well, that went not as bad as I thought, but not as well as I hoped.
I am curious what that individual was.
Oh, I know what they were. Which one they were is an entirely different story.
Oh, is Syndra with us now?
Yeah, Cinder kind of comes down the mountain. Yes, I did mention that as you three meet at the end of the bridge coming into the fortress.
I'll gesture for the soldiers to go inside and say, "Start cleaning up. We'll come in behind you all."
Give me
I'm
a
gonna go
diplomacy check.
inform-
What was that, Roland?
I'm going to go inform the people prepared to strike at the sewer to abort.
Okay. As Roland kind of runs off.
22 for telling
James,
people to go in and start cleaning up.
though he is terrible with his commands, seems to speak with at least enough authority to drive the Snowbeards to act almost immediately as they begin to pick up pace and start running in after Roland, many of them getting to work on the crumbling fortress itself.
I'm gonna look at Syndra and whisper into their ear, "I had to kill a Morn."
I know. It was the only nice one, too.
I think it's also been, I'm not sure they're actually dead, but they may have been enslaved. Effect on Stronghelm's dagger. Looks like it adds whatever it kills to his own power.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Rollman's gonna give me my gauntlets back if I don't tell him who I am.
I will inform him. I did say that you were... I didn't get a chance to explain the proclivities. I'd rather not do that marching through a camp saying, "Oh, my uncle became an ant."
You hear a Snowbeard soldier walking by and go, "And hey, my cat became a dog one time." As he kind of looks at you and starts jogging off as you awkwardly look at him.
Just stare at him for a moment. That's horrifying, but understandable.
You might be right. I have seen a dragon turn into an elf.
Syndra would recognize the description of the tan dwarf.
Correct.
I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I have little doubt that I have much doubt that that one's already dead, and I did apologize before stabbing him in the throat, but...
I mean, I gotta play the character with the new changes I got from the item. I mean, all Morons deserve to go away. as it were.
Well, it wasn't a matter of go away or not. It was a matter of I stab him, or we have to then fight all of these. As I gestured to the 27,000. Also found out they were going to kill Frosthammer. Might still do that after this.
That's probably not good for us. Yeah.
It's actually no problem for us, given what I pulled.
I don't think you're thinking about the vacuum of power. Not important though. Not my job.
Well, there won't be a power vacuum as I'm marrying into the family, it seems. So he'll probably put me up there, and then slowly will absorb smaller clots.
Syndra just blinks at James, thinking he does not understand what they meant at all, and starts walking into the forest.
James will start walking in too. He is stressed,
shaking.
tired.
As Sindri goes a few steps ahead of you, as you look on, James, with confusion, not knowing if you said something wrong or stupid, and not really realizing as you follow after, and trying to calm your nerve from almost being attacked by what was basically a mountain of a dwarf.
I will also wave down the ship to
Okay.
land.
Okay. As you begin to head into the fortress, the ship itself finding a place inside the stronghold to land, not finding any place, so thus staying in the air as they set what looks to be themselves a few feet above one of the towers and using the pulley system to act as an elevator up and down. A few
Is
of the
right courtyard area not big enough?
No, not for a warship of or a man or an East Indian ship.
Okay, just checking.
Mm-hmm. But as you lot kind of head into the main stronghold once more, the camp seems to be kind of divvied up amongst these snowbeards that have agreed to Rollman's terms, and then those in the back who seem to still be tied up. Many of your own men seem to kind of be mingling amongst them as Rollman comes up and is doing a head count amongst the soldiers, making sure that everyone is here as Stan Standerson and Pierre kind of go about working in the camp, getting people into order and moving people about.
I'll make sure the Frost Giants are helping out as best they can, I guess, as I would leave it to Rollman to inform the others right now, because James is probably not doing the greatest, because death is still all around us.
It is.
Interest.
James, Rollman, and Cinder, what are you lot doing while you while you look about the fortress and the army starts to go about getting it prepared? You have the day, as you were told. Well, Cinder does know. Good.
I do have to say a few things to Rollman.
Who are you? Do I recognize them?
As you see them walking up behind James, you see what looks to be like what looks to be Cinder at first, demonic horns sticking out, a thick beard, but there's just something off about them, Rollman. Give me an appraise or profession mercenary check to see if you notice.
Mercenary. Look, Roman can make assumptions based on telling them, hey, maybe combine the really dangerous stone with your body.
Rollman, it's Cinder. I mean, Cinder, exactly the same, other than the fact that his horns have grown slightly larger. And they're blue now.
His hands are color.
I gesture to Cinder. This is a result of the stone?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
The horn's the only change? You seem something off.
I just blink, look at my hands that are now blue, and look back up at Rollman.
Besides the hands.
Well, if you haven't noticed from my voice, I'm not exactly, masculine anymore.
Oh. By the way, I dissuaded the rough bloods from flirting with you as best I could.
They can want.
As James kind of walks over, just standing there, cracking his back as he watches about the camp as you talk.
So,
it's still a beard.
Yeah, that didn't go anywhere.
My mother has a nice beard, Rollman. You've met her.
So, two people in the tunnel, I think it was Pierre and Drift, I don't know, talking about one of them wanted to keep the fuzzy thing. Don't really know what that means.
It's either some rat they found in the sewer or a giant corpse of a Smilodon.
Also,
did I see? I get that second. when
Yeah.
I went down and told them, did I see the corpse or is it a rat?
Give me a spot check.
I swear to God, if they were dragging a corpse.
I bet it was a rat. My money's on a rat. 13.
There was the large Smilodon corpse down there that had been kind of cut up and somewhat processed as some of the men were trying to test the meat to see if it was edible. Many of them not really enjoying the smell that kind of stunk up the tomb, the tomb downstairs. But Pierre has found and does now have a pet mouse that is what looks to be gray-skinned and has little black eyes that kind of seems to be hanging out on his shoulder. And Drift did not seem to be very happy about it.
Yeah, it was a rat.
Well, either way.
Okay.
Can I have my gauntlets back, please?
Of course. And I'll take them off. Into you.
I had cold hands for the last few days. To be fair, I think I'm ever cold now, but still.
That sounds like an alcohol.
I just stare at James.
James just staring back right now.
I just look at Rollman. All right. So anything we need to get done, or does it kind of just exist for a day?
It exists. Think of anything that might go wrong.
I'll go up and get the catfish cooking up a feast.
Sure, yeah, go do that. I don't know how things are shaking up with the spiders after this.
I mean, we shouldn't really care, right?
Shouldn't.
If they all went and died, it'd be great.
I just frowned. You seem very adamant about that.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we weren't before.
Just never said it before.
Sure.
Rollman, give me a knowledge history.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Cinder has never once wanted to fight the Morans at all. To your memory, in fact, and almost every occasion when you lot have ran into one, it's been kind of to avoid or to ignore the creatures.
Also been curiosity.
Yeah. This seems to be a very different perspective that Cinder seems to have developed. That seems to be very recent from what you can tell.
Anything else you haven't said before that you feel like saying now?
I mean, my conscience just really doesn't like the Morans. I don't know.
You don't think that's weird?
Let's see. Any other recent developments have I had? I kind of meditated for a couple days. Let's see. People weaker casters don't have rights usually. Not really a thought, but I think I'm a demon now. I'm kind of unsure.
Cinder looks themselves up and down, kind of pulling on the clothes slightly and looking about. I will also note Cindra's other eye is no longer covered.
Lost the eye patch.
Did not say that. There's an eye patch still, I imagine, because I think that magic item is still useful to you.
Still a useful magic item.
Yeah, it's just not covering her eye.
Okay.
Lift it up, just how it's done in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, the item I added the tier to burrowed into my chest.
Interesting. That's not weird. Yeah. You never once mentioned before this event about wanting to kill Morans.
I mean, I already didn't like the Morans. The voice in my head thinks it's a good idea.
Cool. Awesome.
Although they're all about honor. It's all about honor. I've never had an honorable voice in my head.
Well, it could be worse then. Still not good to be hearing voices.
Well, this is the fourth one.
Well...
Although the second one's James, to be fair.
Excuse me?
As Roman looks back at James as James is climbing up a ladder really slowly with his heavy armor to get to the lift that's up on the tower.
Oh, I would switch out of that to the merchant's attire more or less to move around a bit quickly. Go up the ladder. I'm not climbing slowly
I
today.
just imagine he puts his arm away for the ladder and then puts it back on.
Yeah, as you watch this happen and
They
look
shoot
down.
the ladder. They really have to make sure they shoot me on the fucking ladder.
As you look back over at Cinder seeing this interesting situation develop.
Well then.
And I think the voice says I can do psionic stuff, but only very specific psionic things, but not right now.
I can do psionic things, very specific psionic things, but not now. Don't have to see it.
I think that's about it.
That's awesome.
What?
Man. No, it's just, a lot of new developments. It's frustrating.
I mean, I feel stronger than ever.
I don't doubt it.
I feel like if I flex my magic, I could probably make a blizzard.
Okay, maybe don't do that.
Why not?
We don't need a blizzard right now.
Everyone needs a blizzard. The cold is good.
Sure. Just not right now. Look, if we start getting attacked, sure. Blizzard away.
Fine, but only because you were just in a near-death experience.
Yeah. Augur fellow is a interesting man.
Yeah, I don't know where he's hiding a caster of that level.
At what level?
I mean, a 9th level illusion spell. You don't just do that.
Oh, is faking it? That was an illusion?
Yeah. Took me a minute to see through it. Really had to focus.
Yeah, I don't know. No castery ones that I saw. Right, I didn't see it. That was like a caster.
Amongst Odger's ranks.
Yeah. Just
there.
his black shield carrying.
Yeah, his champion from what you saw in his guards, who would have been also carrying what looks to be either great clubs or great hammers, and wearing a mix of plate and chain of either palladium or iron. So yeah, no casters to your knowledge.
Didn't see any. We'll still be on our guard though, as we prepare for dinner.
He's got one somewhere. Also, the people near the pipe had these weird people that didn't blink but could see through my camouflage.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that we didn't have to go that route of attacking.
Yeah, I don't think that would have gone well for me or anyone else that was going to try to run.
Look, I diplomasied my way through a situation I thought I was going to get stabbed in. I'm kind of happy right now.
So situation's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over until we leave, Cameron.
Pain.
James has a minor aneurysm going up the lift.
There's still a chance that the spider's forces might try something. Although, we'll just try and stay out of the way as much as possible.
They might, but they've also been radiating fear ever since I got.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you can't feel.
No.
Yeah, they're scared of something. I don't really get it though.
Interesting development.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting timing. The moment I did the thing with the item and the Kingster, I just started feeling people's fear in this direction. I don't know. I think it was a threshold thing at distance,
Okay.
It's as I will note, still smoking the pipe still lowers my intelligence.
Cinder takes a pull on the pipe and blows out this glittering blue smoke. James, as you get onto the ship, heading down below deck, you see as your entire crew looks to be sitting about enjoying themselves. Though none of them seem to notice you as you walk down. As you look about, sitting on the center table in the little food section with the benches and tables kind of set to the side, you can see a red cat kind of curled up looking at you with its eyes glowing.
Nope.
He just shakes his head, looks at it, and walks away.
Leaving the ship.
As you see,
Absolutely.
as you turn around and kind of go back for the doorknob, you see
wait.
as you open it, you see as a red smoke appears on the other side, and Jakik stands there and goes, "You are an awfully rude merchant."
Only to you.
I thought we were friends.
Given some of the proclivities you have and planning my death, I'm not sure that's what friends do.
I thought all my friends do. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I've never fully planned Roloman's death.
Ah, you guys aren't friends enough. I understand. Ew,
No.
I do apologize.
I'd appreciate if you'd stop planning my death, honestly. I just want to live peacefully.
Oh, but James, our back and forth is what I get up for in the morning. It's why I step out of my jail cell and tell the dragons I'm going for a walk.
Oh, God. What do you want?
I mean, not to be killed by your two friends, mostly, while I'm here, but that's why I came to you alone, instead of going near that one. As he looks, off towards the direction where you'd last seen Rollman and Cinder talking in the courtyard.
Ah, yes, Cinder's new appearance.
What was that, Rollman?
He's obviously talking about me.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously, you're the most physically capable here. You could behead him fairly quickly.
As he looks back over at you and goes, "So, I must ask, if you do not mind, why did you kill my brother?"
It was either him or me and everybody else in here.
Oh no, I understand that part. That fully makes sense, but he was the only one trying to save you from what's about to happen.
Again, I was left little choice. Had it been you there, I would have gladly stuck the dagger in a second time.
Oh, I imagine so, but to be fair, you'll have to get in line for that. I have a few people who owe me their firstborns, and the line goes on. But I understand. I am curious, if you don't mind. I wonder, have one of you signed on with one of these star individuals? As it seems someone has convinced the stars and spiders to work in the same army without killing each other, and I cannot figure out for the life of me who was able to do such a thing.
I have no clue.
So you're denying it was you?
Jakix, if I had magic like that, you wouldn't be bothering me constantly.
It's true, I would have turned you into a magical instrument to play like a fiddle and to show off. But I digress. I understand, then, if it wasn't you, that does make me very curious. My brother's off gallivanting with another group of monstrous individuals, thinking they're going to be an interesting change of the world. I've been stuck with you lot in exchange. I'm not upset about that by any means, but it is kind of an unfair trade. The others are more valuable, in my opinion. I mean, you lot haven't found an island full of trees that are made of magic, so you...
I'm gonna smirk at that. Does that island just happen to be about 5 miles off the shore of a continent?
I do not know, if I'll be honest. I'm not informed of these such things.
I'm gonna guess so, in which case those people may not live much longer.
Oh, you plan to do something against them?
No.
Well, keep your stories and the schemes to yourself, I guess, as he kind of nods at that, looking at you, kind of saying that you're not speaking more on it, and goes, I would be more interested in seeing what happens anyways, as it's more fun to watch the show than become an actor. But I must now leave with that. Now you've answered my questions. I guess I can offer you something of interest that might pique your curiosity. After all, we are friends, and it would be unfair to leave you on an unreasonable position, right? I mean, I know things, you don't know anything. That's unfair, as friends would be. So, go to the courtyard and head to what looks to be a long hall. There, speak your family name, and you'll find something that might be of interest to you, at the very least, a valuable toy for your guard. And
If this is trapped to high hell, I'm gonna use it to run you through.
I expect nothing less, dear James, as he gives a wide smile, his sharp yellow teeth kind of pointed as he disappears into a red smoke, vanishing.
Bixby voice privacy contents have been
Alright. Thank you, phone. I appreciate that. I don't... I got a service
Kicks
agreement.
has infected the DM's phone.
Yeah, and gave me a service agreement. Alright. Apparently the word
That
red
sounds like
mist
some-
is an activation key for AT&T. Keep that in mind.
That sounds like something Jakix would do. Here's your service agreement. Am I annoying you enough yet?
No, but as he vanishes into a red mist dissipating in the door, he seems to give an eerie smile, and the last thing he speaks in Dwarvish, he says, "Soon the Ironheart will be tested to see if it's been forged with a true iron or die in the cold as was expected," as he disappears into the mist.
I'm going to tap the Earring of Sending.
Uh-huh.
Both of you get up here.
Syndra and Roloman, as you hear in your ears James say this as you're having kind of a conversation in the middle of the courtyard looking about.
You didn't say please.
What's the situation?
Very two
The
different
youngest
responses.
decided that the
Sorry.
youngest was here.
Okay, and you need to elaborate, James.
We're talking through a fucking... I will tell you when you get up here. You're the one that said not to use these for general conversation.
You hear suddenly on the other hand, "Hey, it's just to let you know, we Rough Bloods found a couple of these earring things from Hammer and Forge. Everything's going well, James. Also, what's this about? Something about meeting? Are we supposed to join you?"
No, Rough Blood, but if you could tell the chef to prepare a feast, there'll be a party in the fort tonight.
Birthday party?
"Plan the booze, got you, boss." As you hear the individuals take the earring off, and it's still making noise as they seem to be like still talking out
Oh,
loud.
he did hang up.
As you hear in the background, "Hey, Catfish, we need the biggest James special." As you hear some grunting and then some smacking in the background as the sounds of knives begin to go out.
You're on the ship. You go turn that off, you know.
I'm just waiting on the top deck for you two now. James does not look happy.
No, they can't see you, to be fair. You're at the top
This
of
is
the
true.
ship. They're at the bottom. Yeah, that's a pretty far distance.
I'm gonna climb it.
Sindri, are you following after? Alright.
He didn't say please. You're gonna get hit for that.
As the two of you kind of head up to the top of the ship, climbing up the ladder and heading through the tower, a couple of frost giants seem to be kind of pushing some stone blocks back into the wall proper that had fallen out. Kind of getting a good look about this fortress. It's not in great shape, as you kind of get an idea. The stone looks to be thinly mortared. This looks to be a rush job overall. It's still dwarven ingenuity and it'll stand. But you're pretty sure if one of these giants leans on one of these towers the wrong way, there's a good chance it might collapse.
Great!
As you head up the ladder, or head up the ladder, up the tower, and into the or onto the lift that's hanging out, you hear as one of the Rough Bloods grunts and starts to kind of wind the wheel. The youngest of the four, well now three, kind of standing up there as he looks over at you a lot and pulls you over. Kind of pointing over to James, who stands at the helm, kind of looking, as he stated, irritated with life at the moment.
Alright, what do you have to say?
Well, you here downstairs probably blocked everyone's perception of me. But I said fuck that and went to leave, and he appeared in front of me at the door.
Interesting. Okay.
He then said Kaijin has taken interest in a party of monsters, leading me to believe that it's most likely the pirates of the Red Lady. And that they found a peculiar island with trees made of magic.
Okay, good for them.
Yeah, good for.
Oh,
what are
given
we?
what Pierre said, if I remember correctly, that might be the island that he had to escape from.
Yeah, so good for them. What are we dealing with?
Well, there's a treasure in this place that can be found by saying my family name. That might be good for Roloman, and apparently the Ironheart's going to be tested. And, well, we will either stand like the well-forged iron we are, or die in the cold. He also asked if I had any way to control stars and spiders. Because them being in the same army and not killing each other was a horrifying notion to him.
Yes, still haven't figured. Sorry to tell you.
Sinja looks at,
And
like, thinking about their corkboard and, like, connecting some dots as there's, like, nothing really here that's helping.
oh, and I killed the second. He confirmed it entirely.
Told you.
What made you
As
believe
though-
you killed?
His soul was either stuck in that dagger and empowering Odger, or so he's essentially dead until that's freed, or he's enslaved to Odger and adding his power to him.
I mean, haven't we literally seen the spell Enslave get used before in person and how it works?
Yes.
Yeah. It just thralls the person. It doesn't trap their soul.
However, you've also seen a modified version of the same spell used, because I think it was Cinder who identified it on the Belfa Chameleon statue.
Yeah, and then we, what's face cast it as a quick thing.
Yep.
From Senior.
Mm-hmm. So, this spell has been tossed out a few times, yep.
So
Are we willingly walking into the obvious trap, or...
I'm tempted to just leave it. But if it's something of my family's, then it's better to have it in hand. That's why I would like to ask your both's opinion on it.
It's interesting why something belonging to your family would be in a random stronghold.
Oh, 10 to 1 he fucking
Stronghold.
placed it there to toy with me.
The stronghold that was recently built, as far as we figured out.
Also, he has a very strange notion of friendship.
This is a very strange individual. Well, we can have Stan check the area. If he determines it's not too bad, then maybe go through with it. Maybe not. It's up to you. I can probably just focus on keeping the place running. See if we can speed up this cleaning and refortifying. So you can unbarricade the entrance and put all the tables back where they go.
As Roman looks down and sees some of the Snowbeard troops like picking up the cracked tables that they had split together and now trying to mend them together by putting wood together to them.
I mean, like, also, even if we're gonna do it, we shouldn't do it today anyway. I mean, we're kind of gonna be needed here tonight.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll do it another day. Take some time to look into it and... I'm very tired of spiders. And stars.
James looks out towards the enemy army and just kind of says this with a heavy sigh.
I was just pulling roll and we wouldn't have issues if they were all dead.
Wow. What a crazy thing to say. Yeah, if the enemy's dead, it can't bother you.
Yeah, exactly. Simple logic.
And the only reason I didn't try to stab you kicks... One, I can't hit for shit normally.
Alright, I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing.
Yeah. Let's get. I have them getting booze and food ready.
All right.
I'll be here until needed. I don't really think there's much for me to do.
Well,
Unless you
you
want
and
me what the magic wall or whatever it is.
if you feel like you want to, go ahead. As I'll share the instructions on how to get there because the player forgot.
It's in the courtyard. That's all it is.
Was the simplest instructions, but alright.
It's in the courtyard. Stand in the courtyard and say your family name.
Well, stand in the courtyard, go down a long hall.
Courtyard, long hallway, say thing. It was not that much, Cameron.
Is that where the
Long
tomb is?
hall, as in long hall, like for eating. Keep that in mind, not as in like a long hallway. What was that?
The-
Roman?
Does that align with where the tomb is? Or not?
No, it does not. As you look about, it looks to be, kind of hearing this, it would be probably the center of the fortress where the tables were set originally before you started barricading the place. A center eating hall kind of that seems to be in the main courtyard. If you look at the map, it's literally dead center of the map.
That's for your prerogative to decide. I'm gonna focus on the defenses and make the place look pretty.
I would appreciate it, Cinder, as that way if someone accidentally says my clan names while in there, we don't have a bigger problem.
Alright. I'll go check what's going on.
Alright.
Thank you.
As Rollman heads back down, beginning to get the crew to work, kind of guiding them to put things back and helping them with the hard labor. Rollman, this time is this is an actual mercenary work. Give me an actual profession mercenary for like you're at the profession you're doing for once.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's like being in a siege. See if you know how to unsiege a fortress after taking it.
16.
16.
You know, doing the same thing in reverse.
Yeah, you know, having experienced taking a few clans and some small castles in your youth as a mercenary, going around, even working amongst Greg's troops to try and take what was Adventure's Beginning, now Jim Cutter's Port, you've been on the end of a siege and seen what happens afterwards, trying to clean things up, and they pay well. Usually there's treasure and crap lying around as you start looking about, kind of knowing that won't be the case, but as you start giving instructions on where to put things and knowing what the lords typically prefer built back quickly, you get them the troops moving quite fast as they get to work, moving the booze, protecting any sort of food, as well as any of the art that was set up being put back in the halls. New banners being put up and the old ones torn down and burned as they're set aside as you begin to work. All right.
I would have just the Strong Helm and Ironheart.
Yep.
So.
As you get those up, getting the crew, both the crew and the army that has agreed to work with you moving as they seem to go about. The rest of the army still tied up and sitting in the courtyard as they were. All right. James, what are you planning to do while Syndra heads off to go look for this?
There's still a large portion of the troops tied up.
True.
I'm gonna think, is that necessary at this point?
Give me a sense motive. As you look down over the side of the ship towards them in the courtyard, as you see Rollman kind of giving orders and pointing out. 12? I mean, the Snowbeards that were untied seem to be working and acting under a single commander that seems to have, as you kind of guesstimate, is probably some sort of noble or like captain amongst their crew. The others don't seem to have the same kind of honor overall. Kind of guesstimating most of them being peasants, it seems that maybe this lot just aren't as motivated. It probably isn't worth it, as they'll probably cause more chaos for you releasing them. Unless you plan to give them back to the enemy army and just hand them over to them, it's probably best to keep them tied up.
You know, I could get them walking out of here.
You're going to take a couple or so of the rough bloods down with you to go have these guys brought down?
Yeah, they're gonna be in the way generally, and I don't want to deal with this bullshit.
Okay. As James will head down, give me, are you going to do this diplomatically or through intimidation?
Diplomatically,
Okay.
generally, because
Alright,
I'd rather not use intimidation, because I'm very bad at it.
give me a diplomacy check, and what are you going to say?
You all tied up are going to be walked out, given to Well, strong Helm's forces, and they can do with you as they please.
Okay. So you got 21.
21.
As you kind of deadpan give them a very calm, like almost exasperated speech as you do this, the dwarves, the snowbeards, many of them seem to kind of get the idea that you do not care about their fates. Many of them kind of getting a little bit of a glance of hope, others with concern, but many of them start to stand up as the three rough bloods kind of follow behind you, clubs in hand, as they kind of smack them on their hands to re-emphasize the point. And the snowbeards start to kind of get up and start walking as they start marching. The rough bloods kind of nodding as you start to lead them out towards the enemy lines. All right. Sindra, are you ready?
I am.
All right. What's the plan?
Well, as I walk into the hall, I did roll the D100 and not get a 1 through 5 to use Detect Magic.
Nice. All right. As you use Detect Magic, you do well. First off, looking in the long hall, you do notice as there is an illusion spell cast on the walls all above the tables themselves. Some sort of what looks to be minor illusion level, spell, from what you can tell. As you look around the ground, though, as well, at the center of it, there also seems to be another minor illusion spell that seems to be just designed to cover up what looks to be something that's there. I forget if Detect Magic gives you anything special. Let me double check.
I do believe it gives the school.
I do as well. Yes. So these would be faint auras for the the spell's effect for your own knowledge.
Alright. Are they just, like, prettying things up, or are these weak illusions seem to be, like, working together to do something? There's a lot of weak illusions.
The ones on the ceiling seem to be independent of the ones on the floor, but it seems to be the same spell cast both times. It seems that it's something to cover up some of the whatever's behind this intentionally.
Weird. I mean, I have to interact with illusions. If I, like, touch the floor, does that count as an interaction?
Correct. Give me a will save.
Yeah, let's do it. I have high will saves. It's one of the few things I'm really, really good at.
Use
Okay,
that
let's
wisdom.
see what you got.
Nat 20 for a 34.
So you see a depiction of Kez painted naked in his femboy form, laying out for you. No, not really. No.
We can sell that. I know a buyer.
He's got a tattoo, and he might pay a huge amount.
I know 2 buyers. Never mind.
No, as you look on, as you kind of interact with the illusion, the spell almost immediately breaks, and you see in the ground abyssal runes written out in a circle. At the center of a circle, the depiction of what looks to be a painting of a normal dwarven war axe with what looks to be this almost clear crystal with a center amethyst at the far blade. The axe kind of catches your attention as you would recognize this as an artifact of sorts called the Axe of Shards.
The Axe of Shards.
Yep.
What its deal is, or is it just...
Give me a knowledge history or a knowledge arcana. I'll take either.
Let's see. Am I better at... Oh, roughly the same. Alright. Plus 13. 29.
29. For what?
For Arcana.
Arcana? Okay. As you look at this axe, you recognize this has to be made from an ancient time, long before your people, as the spell on it was known to be something that allowed almost the idea of the Philosopher's Stone to transmit one material into another. That was almost unnatural to people. An ancient transmutation magic that is rumored to have existed. Out of character, this would be considered fabricate. But But in character, as you don't recognize the spell itself, as you look over this, kind of looking about, the words on it do catch your attention. Do remind me, do you speak primitive?
I do.
Ah, good. So in primitive dwarvish on the painting of the axe, you read the words Zonde protects.
Does Zonde sound? I mean, I doubt it, but worth a shot.
Give me a knowledge history. As well as a will save.
Yep. No, I figured. No. Well, rolled lower. 23 for the knowledge history.
Okay.
15 for the will save.
Well, you go unconscious. But before you do, the light does not go out, as you remember this name, Zonde, means sin or star, depending on your translation. But as this realization comes to you, something seems to cause your brain to overheat, as if your body is taking on too much, and you go unconscious.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break as Cinder takes a quick nap, and we do a quick bile break. We will be back in a moment. For those watching, it'll be instant. Thank you all. We return as we were, as Syndra takes her nap, as any old lady does truly need to make sure that she has one. We return to the party. James and Rollman, actually rather Rollman, as James is leading the troops out to the enemy camp. We're going to come back to that as a specific moment here in a second. Rollman, as you work about the group, give me a listen check as you start kind of teach the rest of the troops where to put things, how to make everything look nice, how to scrap tables to fix other tables, how not to lean on walls that are loose.
Yeah.
Please don't lean on the towers; they will fall over.
16. You hear as the door is kind of propped open as one of the soldiers comes running out and goes, "Some old lady passed out in the meeting hall. I think she drank too much of the wine."
First of all, we're not letting people drink the wine yet.
Oh, I've got something to go tell the others real quick. He turns and starts jogging away before you get to the second thing.
I just saw you also, I didn't get a name for Syndra, did I?
Nope.
We call him Cinder.
Yep.
I'm gonna go see if Cinder's okay.
As you kind of
Walk on in.
as you head up the long hall, heading down and kind of follow some of the troops. As you look in, you see one of the soldiers is like laying over a barrel of wine that he is soaked in, as he is out cold. As some of the other troops are trying to wake him slowly, trying to get him up. But as you look to the center of the hall, you do see Syndra unconscious laying in the room.
I go over there. Do they seem like they're not dying, right?
Give me a heal check.
Okay.
See what you got.
Oh yeah, I'm good at heal. I'm really good at healing my enemies instead of hitting them.
Oh, I know you're the best healer here.
3.
Syndra is old.
Damn.
But beyond that, as you look at them, with the old comment in mind, you probably imagine it's probably their nap time around this time of day. I mean, it has been an exciting morning. They're probably just tired. But they do not look like they're dead.
This is a weird place to take a nap, so I don't think that is it.
You can
take a nap in a bed or a chair.
As Rollman kind of rubs his chin, and a little speech or brain bubble comes up as he's picturing Cinder in a bed or in a chair, and then thinking about floor and thinking about if he'd sleep on the floor for a moment, and realizing that'd be really uncomfortable.
You already told me your heart doesn't beat, so I'm gonna take that as not to consider. I'll try and shake them awake.
As you do, I will say Syndra is freezing cold to the touch, like icy. But as you begin shaking them to awake, give me another heal check. I have bad news on how unconsciousness works.
Don't worry, I'll make it this week even better.
Is it just a D20 for you? It's a plus. Hey, you got a plus one. There you go. That's something. Oh,
7.
well, there you go.
Better.
You are getting better. Syndra, give me another will save. as you feel the warm hands of someone strong wrapped around your throat.
I literally
Okay.
can't do
It's a
work.
joke.
The last was a nat 1, so I literally can't do work.
Oh,
Oh, that's
nice.
good. Hey.
Ah, all right. You almost succeed. You're getting closer. As Syndra, you feel someone's like a hand like lightly tapping your cheek. The other kind of like lightly like trying to smack the top of your head. Kind of waving wind at you. Nothing seemingly kind of causing as your dream of these icy winter Alps, a beautiful and silent area, is just interrupted as you feel something the ice keeps smacking you in the face, and that's a new feeling as it keeps doing so.
That ice is about to smack you harder.
Roland, they're still unconscious.
Yep. Slapping him.
All right, give me a
Non-lethal.
D20 for non-lethal damage. Let's get an unarmed strike and see what you can do. Watch him crit.
23.
Does that hit you, Syndra?
Are you touch AC?
Without my dex, I think so. Yeah, because I'm also not holding my shield yet. It's...
All right.
Cool.
Roll your unarmed damage.
D6.
It's...
Plus.
Naturally. As Roland kind of like, after a few times of lightly tapping your cheek, as you just kind of snore a little bit louder and like lean over and, say something along the lines of the snow is really weak today, catching Roland kind of a little bit peeved at that. As he holds his hand a little farther out and just like smacks as hard as with his strength behind it, as you feel a full 10 points of non-lethal almost smacking you across the face. Syndra, give me another will save. You can add a plus 10 to it. I don't think you can fail now, but oh yeah, Syndra, as you kind of feel something smack the side of your face, almost thinking it's like a rock punching you. As you look, your eyes flutter open, and you look over to the side, staring at a table. As you feel someone kind of over you, looking down at you.
Ah, you're finally awake.
I should cast a spell at you right now.
Look, I tried to wake you up without slapping you. It just didn't work.
You think to just move me to a chair or something?
Well, first, okay, I did consider it was your nap time, but I thought you'd take a nap in a chair to begin with, so I didn't think this was a nap.
Syndra's eye twitches at the nap time thing.
As Roland helps you up, get up off the ground, kind of stand up.
Part of, I am not old.
I didn't say you were.
I don't just take naps.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ah.
Did you sever anything, or?
Smack you upside the head. Yeah, I broke the illusion on the floor.
Okay.
Saw an axe, writing on it in primitive Dwarvish. Got kind of overwhelmed reading it.
I see. Is it because like a powerful item or something?
Seemed like it.
As Roland looks down at a very plain stone floor.
Oh, it's an illusion. I'll try and break the illusion.
Give me a will
Yeah,
save.
Just reach down and touch the floor. Give it a shot.
Yeah. I'll use a moment of perfect mind to make it a concentration check.
All right.
$25.
25. Is that a nat 1?
It is a skill check and not a saving throw.
I know. I still love that it's a nat 1 though. As you look down at the thing, trying to crack it, for some reason the illusion doesn't dissipate as you kind of like move your hand through it, running it past. After a few moments of doing so, as you look back over at Syndra, and then out of the corner of your eye, it suddenly cracks and breaks apart as you see the floor.
Okay.
Seeing
see?
the abyssal runes on the ground, and in the center, what looks to be a wooden simple axe with a crystal blade and a purple that has a purple center to it.
You didn't mention the abyssal writing.
I know I didn't.
I'm talking to
Oh.
Sunday.
I just blink and I just go, "Can you speak Abyssal?
No, but that
Do
is
you think
here is
I
concerning.
do you think
Don't know, but
do you think
it's
James can speak Abyssal? Doesn't matter very much when none of us can read it.
it matters that it's here in the first place because usually Abyssal.
Well, it
reading
matters
is
that you shouldn't even
powerful.
try. And I was trying to not look at it because usually when you look at Abyssal
I'm
and
not
read
looking at it.
One of the guards who's staring at it, his eyes on fire in the corner.
yeah,
Someone
that-
pull wine in that guy's eyeballs.
that's why I didn't.
As one of the other guards kind of runs over with a bucket of water, tosses it at him, and you see smoke go up as the body just falls over.
Okay, we now have an even 40 for casualties.
Okay. Interesting. A war axe is what it was, right? A battle axe, sorry.
War axe, correct. A dwarven war axe specifically.
Is this supposed to be the artifact that he mentioned?
It might be, but as Cinder kind of looks up at the ceiling. There's another illusion on the ceiling, but obviously I'd have to walk on the walls to get to that one.
You can still do that, right?
I can. I just didn't want to fall unconscious on the ceiling, and
Here, and I
Cinder looks down at the ground.
a
Please tell me it's a rope. Please tell me it's a rope.
not a rope.
Damn it.
It is a. Give me a second. I'm looking for my items to find it.
No, I understand. You guys have a lot of random shit. No,
Yes.
I know.
A safe wing emblem. If you fall more than 10 feet, it'll break and give you featherfall for 108 feet. So you don't need to cast spell if you fall behind us. There you go.
all right. So I'll just walk over and start walking up the ceiling now with this item.
As you do, one of the Snowbeard soldiers kind of walks over and looks at you. Rollman looks down at the circle and goes, "So why do people keep looking at this? I mean, there's nothing here."
Mm-hmm. There's nothing there.
That's what I
Correct.
said. As he looks up at Cinder and goes, "Why is the lady walking on the ceiling?"
Aren't you doing an
Because I
inspection?
can. Because
She's doing an inspection.
Cinder shouts down loudly and aggressively as you say this as well, Rollman. He kind of looks at you both and goes, "Is this some sort of sex thing?"
oh, he wishes.
No, it's not.
You young people these days, as he turns and starts walking out.
Young people.
As he leaves, Cinder, give me a will save for the illusions on the ceiling.
I rolled an 18, which I have a plus 14. 32? Yeah. 32.
32. James is gonna cry when I explain this, so I'm sorry.
Ooh.
As you look upon the wall, you see at first the illusion kind of beginning to crack away, and as it does, Rollman, you also begin to see the painting as the spell is broken. As Cinder stands up there looking on the first side, you see the depiction of what looks to be a young-looking James, but in a beautiful robes of what looks to be infernal silk, or spider silk. The slight flames licking off of them as it seems to be depicted glimmering. This individual carrying what looks to be a large staff made of dragon bone, a small dragon skull at the top that has a third eye made of what looks to be some sort of purple gemstone at its on its forehead. The individual standing there in the other stands there with in his other hand what looks to be a gray heart, almost like it's made of iron. As you kind of walk over, poking at it, Syndra, goddamn, I'm staring at my window as I'm doing this, so I'm not looking at your names. I apologize. Syndra, as you look over, kind of touching it with your hand, noticing this to be made of actual iron in the wall. This is a solid iron heart. As you look at the rest of the illusion, rest of the ceiling, it continues on as the illusion's broken. Continuing to the left as it goes on, this individual is then seen fighting what looks to be a star coming down, hot and on fire, with what looks to be the depiction of three painted frogs kind of climbing on it. Their palms glowing and seemingly feeding into the star itself. From the ground, what looks to be a spider and a dark shadow kind of at its back, seemingly coming and biting at the figure's feet as it does, fighting off these creatures. The next depiction shows as this individual stands on a farm, a kinder of depiction looking almost like your grandsire. And actually, in fact, as you realize it, Syndra, this is your grandsire, the one who was just devoured. Um, he seems to sit upon what looks to be a large farm. Large killer and hell-like wasps seemingly kind of all in the background depicted, going down to what looks to be these small yellow beehives. Himself, as well as what look to be other snowbeard-like creatures with golden beards and bright white skins, seem to be going about collecting honey from these things. Him now having, instead of a long dragon's bone staff, what looks to be a long stick with a beehive at the end of it that glows. As that side kind of dissipates, the other side begins to show, or kind of glimmer to effect as you look over. You begin to watch as the first picture from the farthest on the left begins to show a large continent, not unlike Cricket, but seemingly almost bigger. What looks to be spiders, stars, and more of these beehives popping up everywhere. Snowflakes as well, kind of depicted all throughout, with thousands of these little markers on the continent. And then slowly, as it goes to the next, you see the northern and southern continent depicted as on fire. Frogs looking as if they're being skewered by these demonic spider-like creatures and these strange star-like individuals, as well as these what look to be this individuals and the ancestry of your clan. Lastly, as it shows a depiction of an old-looking individual, a very ancient-looking creature that seems to be depicted as a conglomerate of thousands of arms and faces, all in a singular shadowy figure, seems to stand in front of this individual, this grandsire of yours, as he stands there as a simple farmer attire, his staff kind of glittering with what looks to be wasps kind of flying out of it. As he looks on, something seems to happen as the two seem to be depicted as facing each other, and then the next image, it shows that the continent is shattering, a cloud being pulled away, and what looks to be dragons being depicted as growing. Small settlements of theirs popping up in giant settlements before you come to the end, where it looks like a cracked rock has specifically been torn out. And if you're asking for that in writing, I did not write any of that down ahead of time.
No, don't worry about it.
Most
I'm gonna sending James and be like, so you don't have a passion for beekeeping, do you?
James, as you're talking to an officer, as like they're organizing where the prisoners are going, pointing in directions, as you just suddenly hear this in your ear.
No, I've never kept bees.
Grandsire did. You should come to the. You should come to the hall.
I feel like I'm not gonna like what I'm gonna see.
No, not at all. But if you don't come over here, I'm gonna drag you over here.
I will pass off make sure the pass off ends and let him know I have other business to attend to as I walk back inside, bringing the rough bloods with me.
Before we get to that, we're going to roll back about 20 or so minutes as James begins heading out of the stronghold with the prisoners. James, I would like you to give me a spellcraft check.
Oh no! 22.
As you look about, you see one of the guards standing up at the front, a kind of almost heavily furred individual that looks more ape-like than he does actually a Goliath or dwarven or even giant-like, standing about 6 feet in height, very comfortable attire that looks to be very fluffy for his armor, what looks to be very almost a thick fleece seemingly underneath a thin gold plate that he wears. His hands having long claws that seem to stick out, only 2 main fingers and then a side claw that sticks out as his depiction, kind of giving you the impression that this individual is probably some sort of beast folk. A large glaive in his hand that has 2 pointed blades at the end of the glaive rather than a solid blade. And then lastly, as he looks about, he seems to be carrying what looks to be an emblem on his or around his neck that glimmers and catches your attention. Not only because is it made of solid mithril, and that immediately catches your eye with the blue glint of it, but also the fact that it is in the shape of a strange-looking star, as he seems to be talking to one of the guards that is ushering you over.
Great.
James's inner monologue, people. Thank you. It is a Muppet's voice, if you would like to know.
It jumps between Muppet, Yoda. It just depends on what puppet I decide to be today because I keep getting fisted.
Well, to be fair, Yoda was a puppet when he was first introduced, so, it kind of fits, as James has just got a little puppet version of himself in his head that talks to himself every once in a while. That's his happy place,
Go over there, you do not!
Yeah. What was that, Roland?
He's gone crazy.
Yes, it's officially. But as you kind of head over, James, seeing the guard captain that's kind of looking at you, kind of walking over with this individual as they see the troops, he seems to come up, and as you notice, his caster level catches your eye with that. As you note, it's around roughly 60-ish. As James panics more in his head. Straight poker face of I'm gonna die and I'm gonna keep this like I don't know I'm about to die as he looks out.
Inwards. Panic. Outwards. Another day. These ones...
Good.
These ones seem like they'll just cause trouble if I untie them inside, so... I figured passing them back off to you all would be the smartest move, since they seem to be, I do believe, strong Helm citizens.
Guard captain nods at that and go as he's about to speak, and then the other individual seems to kind of like lightly tap him on the shoulder, and he kind of looks back and then nods as the individual kind of steps forward, and in a very slow pace and with a very yet loud yawn, his face still fully covered in this golden helm that looks to be almost like a centurion's helm, but fully covering his eyes and mouth all the way down. As he looks at you, though, he seems to speak in a very slow and drawn-out pace, which I won't do for the sake of time of not being here till like 12 o'clock at night. But as he takes moments to, like, multiple seconds to speak a single word, almost every round, you hear this, James. At the same time, about halfway through this, you'll hear a Syndra kind of messages you, as he goes, "You are James, the one I wish to speak to." And as he gets to that point, you hear Syndra say something, or speaks into your ear as you reply, as you kind of hold up a finger and step away, as the Rough Bloods kind of step forward, organizing the troops for a second.
Well, I'd be fine having a meeting, but I do have some other business I need to attend to.
The head slowly nods up and down, and he goes, "I understand. Call when you are free. My name is Belphegor." And he like slowly bows deeply and then slowly stands back up and then turns to walk away extremely slow.
Oh god, it's the cyber sloth!
As he kind of steps away, the Rough Bloods kind of both all look at you, and as you kind of look back at the captain, giving a nod and leaving him in charge of the enemy troops who are already tied up, the four of you begin to walk away. One of the Rough Bloods, the youngest, seems to lean down and go, "Boss, I think the Beast Folk fella, I think he might be able to beat Rollman."
Yeah, he's about... let's put it 10 times... He's about 3 times stronger than the general of the army, so we should probably get back inside.
He nods and goes, "We know. He used to visit Granny Apple a lot." God damn it. Alright.
Internal shit of... Oh god, no.
It's like, alright, Marge is here. Marge is in the mood and here. So we've learned there's like James inner monologue, then it goes like Yoda, and then it's like horny Marge, and that's how you know how bad of rating it. Because when we get to Marge level, James already knows he's dying. Like this isn't an if, it's just a win. So
there is no hope. I might die tonight.
yeah, Syndra and Rolliman, as you still have this thing connected, and James doesn't necessarily have to turn it off, or doesn't necessarily turn it off every time. I mean, that inner monologue might actually come through on occasion. Keep that in mind. You suddenly hear the verge of the voice of Marge Simpson in the back of James's mind.
You're fucked.
That's Marge gargling salt water, but that's alright, we'll get there.
Sorry, there must have been a bit of interference. What did you say, James?
I'll explain when I get back.
Are we sure that was James?
Syndra looks down from the ceiling.
I mean,
Or up.
It must have been some sort of static or something. That was incredibly weird.
As Roland says this, you see as the Rough Bloods kind of one of them chimes in and goes, "We can still hear you lot. You know that, right?"
Yeah.
As James, you look over, you see the young Rough Blood who has the earring in his ear, physically nod like he understands.
I just pull the finger up to my lips and hush him as we walk inside.
As you head up the fortress embankment, kind of over the large bridge, seeing the ravine down below, as you look in, as you pass over it, heading back into the fortress itself, some of the snowbeards standing at guard as they look at you and take a kind of nod as they continue, or as you continue past, some passing by you as they grab some of the tables from the barricade and pull them back over, heading inside.
They're still undoing the barricade.
With big barricade, a lot of furniture, man. There's a couple of chairs they're trying to figure out how to fix. You can see one of them has made an art project out of one of the nice chairs as he stuck legs and different pieces together as he doesn't seem to understand what a chair is.
Oh,
I'm going to force him to learn later.
What?
James is personally taking note of this, given death all around, godlike creatures trying to kill him. But chair creation, man, that is not acceptable amongst these peasants.
That's where the line is drawn.
Dwarves are known for craftsmanship. This bullshit doesn't get to exist.
James personally taking his hatred out on a peasant like a true noble. As you kind of head though in, James, heading towards where where Rollman had mentioned in the meeting hall, as you head up the stairs down the long hallway into the long hall itself, as you open the door, seeing the snowbeards finally dragging the gentleman that is now slightly conscious out of the barrel of wine that he was unconscious in earlier, as they go heading off. The other body being dragged out, his eye is kind of smoking as the poor creature is unfortunately completely blind and dead.
James remembering why he left.
But as you look in, James, you see Rollman standing in the center of the room, Syndra on the ceiling looking about.
Alright, should I say my name, or is it safe to?
I don't know. I didn't do that yet.
God fucking damn it. I can't reach up there, so if the thing you want me to see is up there, you're kind of fucked.
I will say, in the greatest irony, these ceilings are about 40 feet tall for poor James to feel even shorter.
Unless I levitate my ass up there, and I don't really feel like wasting the wand on that.
Yeah, don't waste your wand on that.
Yep. I just walk back down. Well, make your call. You want to wear the shoes, or do you want to just say it and see what happens?
I'll put the shoes on and walk up.
Well, good luck taking your greaves and everything off, because they're giant ice boots. So, armor's gotta come off.
I'll just switch to my merchant attire and put the boots on.
As you
Before
stick...
you climb up, I give you a safe wing emblem.
Okay. As you're handed an emblem and as you take the ice boots, putting them on, they are freezing cold, James. It's like sticking your toes in snow on a mountain. This is, you're a snowbeard. You enjoy a comfortable cold bath here and there. This is insane. Someone's decided to freeze their toes, and you can feel the frostbite actually coming through. And Cinder seems to walk around these daily.
Syndra made these
Syndra.
herself.
Yeah.
You know what? I can last just a few minutes to get this done, hopefully.
Oh, you're sure of that? It's just gonna be uncomfortable the entire walk up.
Good. That means maybe I won't pass out.
But
you can pass out, be okay.
as you head up, kind of putting the pin on as well, that Roland kind of takes from Syndra and puts onto you, as you kind of start walking up the walls. Give me a balance check, as this is the first time you've ever walked up the side of a wall.
Hey,
This
it's
isn't
not
like-
bad. We're
yeah.
buying his merchant shit and not his fucking
It's
really
true.
hard.
You don't have to assume for armor.
Still
but
not very balanced.
James who's not used to wearing armor, like most heavy armor wearers, and even though I don't think this is heavy armor, I think you're wearing medium still.
I'm not
Really-
wearing any armor right now.
Well,
I'm in my merchant's attire.
No, I know, I get that, but I'm talking about your normal armor. I think it's medium. I don't think it's heavy.
No,
heavy.
it's full plate. It's
Is
heavy.
it full? Oh, okay. But having the heavy armor taken off, you're not really used to kind of walking around as comfortably without it, having spent so many days in it as you do. As you start to kind of go up, you kind of overstep a few times, find yourself falling back, almost falling off and losing your grip as you manage to reassert your foot, kind of stepping down. And as you get about 10 feet up the first time, you do unfortunately lose your balance, falling down to the ground, though thankfully not taking any damage as the pin activates.
Unfortunately, it's more than 10 feet.
Never mind. James, you will take... it helps if I actually put the R there. My apologies. You'll take 1 point of bludgeoning damage
Ow.
as you kind of fall on your back and climb your way back up the second time, managing this time. Actually, you know what? Let's get another balance check. Let's see how much better you can get. Because if you do get worse,
Are there
My shoes only have so much charge per day. They're not.
As Cinder kind of points that out, James kind of nods, and his cheapness finally kind of keeps him where he takes it slow and steady, refusing to lose the amount. As he takes one step, really slides his foot to the next, and kind of goes with it, just basically skidding up the side of the wall instead. As James
I
refuses
am very
to chance.
frugal. Come
Yeah.
here.
James's cheapness refuses to allow himself to fall as he continues climbing his way up. But as you get up to the ceiling looking about, you see the same design that Syndra saw.
All right.
The illusion having been broken as Rollman kind of looks up and sees it. As,
Can I see it now too?
You were able to see it when you walked in. It's just as Syndra was walking about on it. As soon as she fucking interacted with it, it was gone.
I have a really close look.
Yeah.
I guess I get a look over it. The thing that'll probably draw James' interest is the Ironheart there.
I was gonna say, give me an appraise for your metal stuff to see if you notice anything of rare or uniqueness about this art piece, as well as let you know how much this art is worth.
I looked at Cinder. Is there like a thing with frogs? There's so many frogs. What is that for?
Do you not know what a slotty is?
Oh, I see.
As Rollman suddenly remembers the one slot he met, Floor Snap. 11. James, as you're looking this over, I will say the Ironheart itself is about, you'd guess, about 60 pounds of solid iron, made into an actual heart. It seems to be pushed into the stone itself. What else also catches your attention is interlaced throughout this entire painting, seemingly upon the stone. There are bits of glittering gemstones, emeralds, rubies, sapphires, death ore, which catches your attention most. Though it's in such a minute and diluted amount, it's almost like a thin painted dust that has been mixed with water as you look about inspecting. The map itself seems to actually have some sort of pattern, though, as you do notice the lyrium dust is set in each of the images, though you can't tell what it is as it's too thin to get a signal off of as you look about it.
Well, there's lyrium in this.
There's lyrium in everything nowadays.
There's lyrium purposefully in this.
I repeat, there's lyrium in everything nowadays.
God damn it, Auntie.
As you say this, I will say the room's, while it's tall, it is very echoey. Cinder can fully hear you even as you speak quietly.
Is there anything that you've noticed?
Well, the
that?
heart is about 60 pounds of actual iron carved into a heart.
James does not catch as Roman looks over at Cinder as James is still inspecting the painting itself.
So Cinder sees the whole thing about Grandsire fighting frogs and everything, right? And I'm just sitting here like, that would have had to have been ancient times. Like, the Slotty aren't really around anymore, like on a large scale.
No, the survivors, as they're listed as, are in the Tall Covenant.
Must be from like the Clouded Age, yeah.
As Roman like rubs his chin.
Was Grandsire that old?
Seems like it has to, but
Roman, who has... go ahead, sorry.
James, was Grandsire really that old?
From my understanding, he was older than dust.
Oh. Gross.
I mean, he was talking about needing something more ancient to do quite a bit, actually, in order to kill the Morans properly.
Oh, now I'm actually sad he's dead.
Roman, who has no idea who this Grandsire individual is, other than the fact that you guys were going to meet him.
Is this an ancestor?
Yeah. It would also work on the star. Something about a metal named... a very strange metal with a odd name. I have it written down in my notebook. I'll show you later.
That was one axe on the floor.
Oh, that's probably the toy he mentioned.
Can I come down and take a look at it?
It's got some kind of spell to create or put things together. Never really seen it before.
Does that sound familiar, Royce?
Give me a knowledge arcana or knowledge history. Or I'll take a d20, but there will be a special thing that will be happening.
Gamba.
I'm not gambling.
Do you pull the slot machine?
I'll pull the slot machine if he doesn't.
Fuck that.
This is just for James specific. Okay.
Damn it.
Coward.
Yes, I'm a coward, because every time I gamble in Royce's games, I get dunked on.
No, you say dumb things. That's not gambling. There's a difference.
You earn your dumb things. The stuff I give you, you just don't use well. No, James, as you kind of think about this, there is something that sits similar to that. However, it's surprisingly more modern than you realize, as you had heard about supposedly an item that Utham had managed to acquire. It's something that kind of got out because merchants like to speak on and will discuss anything. That Utham supposedly had an item that he called a Philosopher's Stone, though he noted it to his followers and closest confidants as an item that philosophized on the idea of switching the materials, giving you the idea of how to, not the ability to do so. Though you aren't sure if there was any truth to it, as there has been no note of Utham getting extremely wealthy, as you've been kind of keeping tabs on that.
He was already pretty wealthy to begin with.
Yes, but that kind of wealth you would notice. That's something that would catch your attention, because if he could turn anything into, like, say, very valuable gemstones, he could literally buy nations as it was.
I'd like to add that one of the open documents from Iris also mentioned Stone in Kanabala's entry.
Correct.
Or unique.
I believe so. It might be.
Then back away from it. Is there anything else I should know about it before I as I'll work my way down.
Well, it has abyssal on it, and something in primitive dwarvish.
I really need to learn my primitives.
Well,
Do
you
you
probably
want-
should. I read the primitive dwarvish name and passed out immediately.
Yeah, that's how I found Cinder. Do you sure you even want this?
If we leave it here, something surrounded in that, we either need to break it so that it can't be brought out, or bury the entire fortress.
Who's to say it is protected already because it's protected behind your name?
I'm saying that's not enough protection given that there's a star right outside that wants to talk to me that talked really slow.
James going slightly pale as he walks down at the mention of that.
So, James, do you know any like historical names? Are you good at history of weird names?
I can do my best about it.
Who's Zond?
Give me a knowledge history or knowledge nobility.
I will go knowledge history and that, so it gives me up a little bit more, not much. But going for whoever else I can get here.
10? Yes, James, you recognize this term to mean shame. However, as you, and this is history or nobility, to make sure.
This would be history.
Okay. There is plenty of mentions throughout many history books that discuss powerful apex monsters, marking many of them as having symbols of shame, as the term would go. As that was the common belief that that's what the word meant. Though it was not a noble house, but was more associated with seemingly powerful magical creatures.
It means powerful magical creature or shame, depending on what context.
Yeah, those both feel wrong. It says Zond protects. That doesn't feel right.
Shame protects.
Yeah, that doesn't really make much sense.
Well, again, it could also mean powerful magical creature.
Yeah, but who just writes powerful magical creature protects on a weapon?
I will shrug as I will get to the bottom and take Cinder's slippers off and put my armor back on.
But my feet are too warm. I can put my shoes back on.
So yeah, you see as James's boot or his cloth shoes are soaked through, and his as he kind of like wiggles his his toes to get them a little bit more back to movement, as they're a little bit frosty. But as James immediately turns his armor back on, he seems to kind of stretch about, testing the armor a little bit as he hands the shoes off. All right.
I have my Miami's back.
I will take it off and hand it to him.
Thank you.
So, the thing on the ceiling looks to be a prophecy, I'd guess.
Well, if it's Grandsire, it's already happened, correct?
Yeah, I think most of it's already happened.
I'm referring to the last part with the me.
Probably. Didn't realize you wanted to be a hero. Apple really does fall far from the tree.
James just glares at you.
As you see the evil, corrupt, demonic magic eroding off of Syndra all around her.
So, you gonna release those backs or we're not?
I'd like to roll sense motive
On
on
Roland?
Jakix's words.
Oh, okay.
Before.
On me?
I was like, what the fuck?
Please
Oh.
don't tell me you're Max.
Alright, sense motive on what Jakix said? Sure. What are you trying to sense out of it, out of curiosity?
If this is fucking trap to high hell, I don't trust him. I don't trust any of this. I don't want what's on the ceiling coming true.
So, with an 18, first thing I will note, is that what he said doesn't seem to have anything to do with what's up on the prophecy that you're seeing up there, as you're calling it. He didn't speak to any of that. Only seemingly, the only thing that seemingly seems to put you towards it is the Ironheart up there, which that could also be similar to what the item that Cinder was recently carrying around, like his Ice Heart. Could also be a representative of your company. That could be something that helps out. This really is a very vague perception, as it seems to employ both like concept of future and past concepts intertwined. This could be you. This could all be your grandsire. The only thing you're sure about is Jakix didn't say anything that had to do with what is pointed up there. This doesn't seem to be something that is outright like trying to kill you, as you also saw Syndra walking up there. Nothing kind of clicks as this is related to a trap or seemingly that it seems to be a harm to you. Lastly, I will note, Jakix is a very dainty looking individual, skinny arms, narrow shoulders, thin hips. If he could build like this, you're pretty sure he'd be built like you. You know, square-shouldered, wide-chested, a little bit wider in the hips so you can actually stand up straight and carry a rock.
Also,
We
we know
still
his
can't balance for shit unless
we
money's
also know-
online.
we also know his class and character, and we know that class only lets him cast enchantment or illusion, so he couldn't have used magic to build it either.
Yes, I will say, as this isn't a magical effect. This is painted onto the stone or carved into the stone. These are actually gemstones shoved into the rock. As you're kind of looking at this, this is an artistic piece. To you,
mosaic.
this is almost like a dwarven art piece, if you will. Yeah, like a mosaic, if you will. So, which does technically mean you get stone cutting applied to this.
Well, stone. That applies period for appraisal.
True.
It's just now I can tell with an appraise check of 10, which I passed, if it was dwarven craft.
Which it is. This whole castle, in fact, from what you can tell, was made by by Snowbeard hands.
Syndra, whatever you want to go by right now. What is your take? Should I go ahead and pull that axe out of there and... or do you think it's safe enough to leave?
Well, if you leave it, someone else is going to grab it. If it happens to be a powerful artifact, well, you know.
We're fucked. Got it.
Yep. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Which way do you think I should be damned, then?
May as well go out on your own terms.
Step back, then. Let's see if this works.
I shall leave the hallway.
Roland looks at you, nods, and like steps out into the hallway and like closes the door.
Is there
Really
make sure
stepping
no one
back.
else in there?
The other little Snowbeard troops have cleared out with the bodies they had dragged out, leaving the last few casks of wine in there for later.
I'm taking over some those out too.
Okay.
James will recite his full name.
Syndra, where are you going? Out of curiosity.
I'm following Roland.
Stepping outside, let the door shut. Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Cinder, grab one of those barrels with you.
You see Cinder kind of like stops, turns.
Yeah.
Looks at you, James, as you're about to speak, and holds up a finger as they walk over and grab one of the barrels and start rolling it
grab the
out.
other one so there's none left.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want whatever he does to ruin the wine.
As you see Roland comes in after a moment, and Cinder kind of gets closer, kind of grabs two of the barrels and starts rolling them together as they slowly make their awkward entrance out or exit out again.
If I
Give him
die,
a
I'm
thumbs up.
haunting them for the rest of their days.
Good.
As Roman kind of gives a last little glance in real quick to make sure there's no barrels of wine, no food, nothing important, and then nods, kind of closes the door again.
James will then recite his full name.
All right. Well, which name are you using, James?
James's last name is an amalgamation of the two clans, so he will go. Given how the phrasing was so fucking vague, he'll start with James Dreg Frostbuster.
As you say this, the ground in the entire stronghold begins to shake. Everyone, give me a balance check. I'm sorry, James.
Son of a fucking.
I don't do this to pick on your balance. I promise. I forget every time.
You know what? I am so tempted to say screw this. I'm using divine insight, but it'd be a waste of a spell.
It would be. Let's see what you got. 25 for Syndra. Nice. Success. James is surprised, eyes closed, and is like expecting death at any moment, and then immediately feels the ground underneath him shake as he ends up on his ass. Rolliman knew this was going to happen. He knew something was wrong, and in the moment he felt the ground quake for a second, seeing one of the wine barrels slightly cracked open, a drop move, immediately caught his attention as he braces himself, holding himself properly still.
And saving the
Defend
wine.
the wine.
And saving the wine without issue as he picks it up, holding it steady.
I imagine he's doing like a keg stand with it at this point.
Yeah, James, as the ground begins to shake underneath you, as you fall back on your butt, kind of looking up in surprise as you catch yourself, hands kind of braced behind you as you slightly push yourself up almost in a crab walk. Looking up as you do, you see as from the ceiling drops down, the stone collapses out. As it does, hanging there, an axe falls to the ground, dropping onto the ground as it does, clattering with a chiming sound, almost like someone's just hit wind chimes. The stone pushing back in, and the entire stronghold stopping its quaking. As you look on and see this wooden war axe or dwarven war axe with a crystal core gemstone as the blade. The outer edges of the blade almost perfectly clear, but the center of it having an amethyst core. The crystal itself seems to spike out in 3 spikes that protrude from the center itself. As you look at the handle, you recognize the handle as well as great wood, recognizing the blade as a material you have never seen before. And I'm almost 100% sure, because I did do a check over your guys' inventory just to make sure I was right on that.
It's some form of crystal, which means it's most likely deep crystal or regular crystal baseline.
As you look at this, though, looking over the handle, the blade seems to be kind of tied on with some what looks to be dragon leather, recognizing this as ancient gold dragon skin. That has been tied together to hold this axe blade onto the wood. The wood itself seems to have a few feathers from what looks to be some sort of small bird-like creature that you don't recognize, having never seen these feathers before. Looking down the handle, though, you read as it says in primitive Dwarvish, though again you can't fully read it, but get the word "shame protects" from what you see. It's spelt, though, as Zonde protects in primitive Dwarvish. A few rough runes that seem to not have anything in similar to the giant language, which catches your eye immediately, James, as that is quite strange, as dwarven runes almost are identical in many ways to the giant's own version, though smaller in almost all cases, of course. Looking at good.
Are they more? Do they look more closely to infernal runes?
They do, in fact.
I speak infernal.
So yes, you do read properly the Zonde protects, though you still, from what your understanding of it, reads shame protects, which kind of catches your attention. Or magically powerful monster protects, though that doesn't seem right either as you look at this item. Recognizing it almost from a glance, this thing looks to be old. Give me an appraise check, please. As well as a spellcraft to see if you can figure out anything about it. As the ground stops rumbling and Rolliman and Syndra kind of poke their heads in to see you kind of fondling an axe.
19 for appraise.
Okay.
I know no magic. I fell on my ass.
The crystal itself you recognize as a rare material that's only been found by a few select individuals who have managed to travel all the way to Zebral's territory and escape. Though even that is believed to be a falsehood, as many believe that they were fake crystals that were designed to look like the real mythical deep crystal. you recognize this as for the blade. You also recognize this as a thing called an Axe of Shards, an ancient dwarvish weapon, or war axe, that waxes a +3 weapon. These things were common amongst the wild dwarves, and still are, but were common amongst your ancient ancestors when they would go out into the battle against demons, ancient apex monsters, really any creature, as they were gemstones were so plentiful that it was easy to carve them into these items, and magic seemed to take to gemstones much better overall, given still the same experience that you have now. Recognizing this as such, though you do not know what the spell that seems to run in this item, you do notice there is some sort of magic into it. As you kind of run your hands over the runes that say Zonde protects and sense some sort of death aura inside the wood. This, roughly, with your appraise, you'd account to an artifact of roughly around 1 to 2 million GP, depending on who you sell it to, as these things are almost impossible to find, and there is not a modern smith that has been able to recreate them.
I will pull out probably some cheap leather scraps to put around the blade and the points of those back spikes before I put it away.
Got you. Here is the full description for you.
Oh, I immediately went and looked it up.
Fair enough. Well, there's a slight variation with it if you look at mine. So,
Yeah.
so as you so you're picking up and putting it away. Sorry.
I'm not gonna touch that thing barehanded. I feel like it's cursed to high hell.
All right. As you leave it on the ground, kind of staring at it.
I'll pull out a blanket from my bag, my blanket, and just wrap it in it, put it back in the bag.
Okay. As you go to put it in your bag of holding, I need to roll something.
Oh no.
Actually, James, you know what? Let's make it fun. You can roll something for me. Let's get 2D100s.
You didn't immediately know that was going to happen, putting that as an artifact in a bag of holding?
How do you feel about DACA rules?
62 and 23.
Okay. Oh, good news. It's going to be on the bag. And 23. Well, I've got bad news. What was in this bag of holding, James?
This would have been most of James's just regular travel stuff, so we didn't have a backpack anymore.
Oh, so like your tent, your bedroll, your food, any rations
because
you had left.
I would put things in there to take out later, like the mountain giant leather, but that was the beginning and end of it.
Like
so there wouldn't be anything
like your
very
toolkits, yes, that stuff, your masterwork toolkits. Yeah, okay.
Those would have been masterwork toolkits in this instance would have been left on the ship because there's no point in bringing them for a chance of big problems.
Well, I have bad news. All of your basic gear then is officially gone, as this bag of holding immediately turns to stone and loses its magical effect. However, instead of spewing out the items within, it seems that the items are lost to wherever they were locked into, as this thing turns to heavy rock, gaining 100 pounds.
I'm just gonna break it off of me at this point. Just.
All right, give me
It's got a thin strap.
Oh, okay. As James quickly takes out, looks at the axe, kind of glares at it as the blanket, as he looks down at the blanket and looks down at the bag of holding, putting down the axe, and grabs a small pocket knife from his belt, cuts the rope, and lets the stone bag drop. Rollman and Syndra, as you see his bag of holding turn to stone and hear the clattering of it onto the stone as it cracks and breaks. What would you like to do?
I didn't know James could turn things to stone.
Syndra,
if you two are watching, it'd be nice for you to come in at this point.
What was that, Rollman? Go ahead.
Hearing his voice, I'll go ahead and open the door.
Okay. As you open the door, looking in, you see as James is kind of just standing there, looking over at you lot expectingly, something wrapped in a blanket on the floor as he looks down at a cracked, broken bag of holding.
What happened?
Tried to put the thing in my bag of holding. Luckily, nothing important was in there. Turned it to stone. This thing is certainly cursed, and I don't want to use it.
I mean, all ancient items are cursed. They kind of had to be for primitive crafting.
Why did you
Also-
summon the item?
Also, the runes on it are also there are also runes on it in Infernal, meaning Zond might mean something different in that tongue.
Well, you speak Infernal, don't you?
Doesn't mean I know old meanings for words in that tongue.
James thinking back on his failed check. Realizing he didn't get a good translation for it.
Okay, so what are you gonna do with the weapon now?
It's made with deep crystal. Might make a good gift to give to Zebril to. That's just a straight out gift of thanks for business, because he's essentially one of the more scary people we deal with. And it would keep it more or less out of most hands.
Okay, how are you gonna store it? Seems it's not gonna play nice with bags of holding.
I have no idea.
Honestly, I prefer to keep that thing away from anything magical, including the ship.
I will probably see if Melvin can come down and send it off.
All right. We could
I mean-
put it in a storeroom for now, then, in the keep.
Could always just convert the dungeon down below into a vault and make it a family artifact.
That's true. You can put it down in the tomb. It's empty. And keep it stored there until Melvin can send it off or something. You sure you
Until
just
we
want to
figure out what to do with it.
You want to get anything in return?
Only thing I'll ask for in return is that he upgrades either the item that he plans to give us for the ship, or gives me helps me make my next weapon instead.
Do you want help making your own weapons? Isn't that like a pride of dwarves is to make it yourself?
Oh, if Eider gets to go through and say that and get the help of Zebril for making his armor, I can at least get one with my weapon.
So you're just going to be degraded down to Eider's level then?
As
You
I
don't want to get to
gesture
the
up to
height
the
with
ceiling,
just your own ability?
as I gesture up to the ceiling.
As you do, one of the troops you hear in the hallway gets suddenly yelled at by another guard as he gets reprimanded for trying to go run off with one of the wine casks.
Either that, or I'll ask him just to store it and research it for me, and in return he can keep it
Consider
feel
that
like
game.
after he's done.
Even if you want a world leader's help, I wouldn't do Zebril, because aren't his items weird and mind-based, meaning even if he helps with it, you can't upgrade it later without his help?
That's fair. You think who are you considering I ask for help then?
I'm considering you don't, and you just save the axe for a while, personally, but, I mean, multiple
Guess
world
for
leaders
this-
take
James,
Well, then we'll put it up for now.
If you reach the heights and your name is said everywhere, what was it gonna feel like though to share that title with someone that helped you get there in your own crafting ability?
That's fair. Let's go put this in that dungeon you brought up and leave it there for now.
All right, we'll post a small guard there.
All right, as you
Can't
lot
spare too much for it.
kind of gather it up in the blanket and begin to head down below towards the base, the underground. So three of you kind of head out, carrying it out. Getting down the stairs as you see Pierre and Graf, Graf, I believe, sitting, talking, and joking about something as you pass by them going down the tower and into the deeper tunnels down the winding stairs. Heading down, you can see the bits of what looks to be dried blood even on the stone where some sort of battle was definitely held. Looks like someone put up a fight. These scars in the sides of the tunnel, seemingly looking as if a blade had cut into them. But as you continue down for another 20 or so feet, you come to the basement where you see the small tomb entrance that looks to have been blown open, a crater's hole kind of in the side of it, the end of the hallway that you stand in looking to have what looks to be a break-in of the sewer pipe itself that goes out of the fortress, where you can see where Rollman's troops had come out, as well as what looks to be a half-butchered, being kind of worked through red Smilodon, or red-furred Smilodon, that seems to have its eyes already having been pulled out. Its head looks to be slightly covered with what looks to be a heavy blanket. The lower half of it, though, the creature seems to have been butchered and cut up, the bones currently being removed and processed.
That was their kill. They get to keep it. I'm not taking that right now.
I would,
I'm here to put this in here.
gather Stan and a small group of people to guard this and have Stan set up locks and Jeff.
Okay. As you head into the tomb, kind of looking about, as you do see what looks to be a very simplistic design of a very shallow tomb. As you kind of head down the hallway slightly, about 20 feet to the right, and then turn and find the main corridor, a pedestal where the what looks to be a dusty figure having once sat, something having been removed a while ago. The paintings on the wall looking to be slightly now glowing, which, Rollman, these weren't here the last time you were down here, as you look about and see the glitter of blue. For those who can cast spells, please give me a spellcraft check.
As soon as I see that, I'll command everyone to halt. So
Okay.
Can't do any further.
Got you, as Rollman kind of stops you at the entrance to the main chamber.
Oh, God.
Yay!
33, nice. Good work, good work. 22, alright. James, that same lyrium dust that you had felt earlier, you begin to notice this time now, though, the multiple painted creatures seem to all have letters in them that kind of catch your attention. Many of them, unfortunately, though, in Abyssal, but kind of catching your attention as you see them. Some letters start to catch your eye as you start to make sense of a few things.
Knowing Infernal and Celestial.
Give me an intelligence check, James, as before we get to Syndra's explanation. Because goddamn. 8? James, never mind. You catch a couple of the symbols. You recognize the symbol of frog, something that means, like, witch. But the rest of them just seem to be too much to kind of catch your eye and understand. As it hurts your brain, and honestly, this whole situation's kind of got you on edge.
I'll point at the one that says frog and go, that one says something that I can understand, and the one that says witch, essentially, and that one says something I can understand.
As he points to that, Syndra, as you read and look across, it reads, the ancient house of those of the Mead Frost stood against both Hag and Slod. We rest forever with our champion. The term hag and slutty, though, are interchangeable, as you note, as James points out, frog and witch. As he gets a rough translation into Infernal that he kind of goes with.
What does it say?
Okay. The ancient house of Mead Frost stood against the Slod and Hag. We rest forever with our champion.
Mead Frost? Is that a house?
Well,
Technically, it'd be a combination of two.
Well, James is from a Frost-based family and is supposedly related to Meadmancer.
Right. With our champion. So there's someone in here that we didn't see before? Or it's gone? I don't know.
Rollman, give me a search check.
Yeah, I'll go in and search and we'll go back.
Yep, as he makes sure there's no undead waiting for you, of course. Because it'd really be unfortunate if Lich just popped out of the ground.
That would
Oh,
suck.
look, a new great-grandpappy. Come here, I have words to have with you.
Nat 20 for 27.
Motherfucker goes Karen on a goddamn lich. Alright. Damn, good work, Roman. Unfortunately, or fortunately, as you look about, there is not a single creature in the room. As it looks like there isn't a tomb, there's no skeletons, there's no clear signs of any graves. However, with this, you do notice that the dust on the pedestal perfectly kind of lines up with something that catches your attention, and you recognize the symbol as a griffin. Though you're not sure, it's quite small, almost like a chess piece as you look at it. But nothing else kind of catches your attention looking about the room. There's no switches, there's no seemingly obvious traps that would spring a creature into the room.
Is the griffin, like, can I pick it up, or is it like...
Oh, no.
To
The griffin itself looks like it was there. What's left there is the dust impression of something that had been resting there for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Just depicting the fact that griffins have a very distinct design when they're made into pieces or art pieces, like art in general. That's why it's easy to note with that, or easier to denote with that.
Cinder, do you think you can make a small chess piece sized griffin? Out of a piece of stone, or ice? I don't really care. I'm just curious.
I mean, I have my carving tools. I can certainly try.
Cinder, do you have a piece of scrap wood on you?
Nope. Why would I?
I grab a table leg. Here you go.
As you kind of walk back into the back area where one of the tables is being worked on, as you go in and grab one off, and you see one of the dwarves about to protest as he looks up and sees you, and then goes back to work immediately.
Is this a dwarf that doesn't know how to make a table or a chair?
He looks to be on a team, and they seem to be assembling at least at a decent rate. It would probably be faster if they were decent woodcraftsmen, but hey, they're trying, as you see.
I head back down and hand James the wooden table leg. Here's your scrap wood.
I will use my... because I swapped war for artifice.
Mm-hmm. Craft.
I'll be using my second level spell from my domain of shape wood to make what he's asking for.
You can shape my wood.
What did he say?
Sorry, listen. Alright, it was there. It was a joke waiting. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. It's usually safe for Kaz. I don't need Yoda Syndra. No, that's even worse.
That's Syndra's real voice, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Alright. That's the voice Syndra just uses to make sure no one tells if she's a woman or a man. They're just terrified. But anyways,
I'll also, with that, try to leave the leg at least as much intact as possible, looking as what, at least, might be hollow now, though.
Well, if you're gonna make it into the thing, you're gonna have to use, by the size equivalent, you're pretty sure, for the detail, you're gonna have to use the whole leg.
Use the damn... We
Good
have
enough.
more. It's
It'll
okay.
work.
Okay.
You don't need to save the leg.
Form it up as Syndra just kind of looks at you, still pondering why you need wood, as she watches you suddenly as Roman hands you this as you shape it. It's... Give me a spellcraft. Let's see how accurate to a griffin you get. Like, the shape is going to show up right no matter what. I'm just talking, like, the fine details as you make this thing. This, like, craftsmanship, Alright.
Using the spell.
Well, it's average, alright. As James gets the shape right, like, for the outline, but the inside, he's got the eye slightly down. It looks like the griffin has Down syndrome as you're looking at it. Like, you kind of feel bad, but at the same time, at least it's the right shape as you look on.
He's a puppy.
Have you seen the griffin before?
Yes, we have blaze tails.
Did you look at, like, a different one than the one?
Roman, like, looks down
using
at
the spell.
Okay. No,
Why is
no
its
judging.
eye?
Oh, maybe it'll work.
As Cinder kind of, like, leans and, like, points to where the eye should be. Like,
Take the,
yeah. As
the piece.
Roland kind of grabs it with James sighing in irritation as he looks on.
Be prepared. Something might happen. I doubt it will happen, though.
Roland, are you walking forward, blade out, one hand on your blade, the other with the item in hand?
Yes, and
Alright.
Indiana Jones style, place it down.
All right, as you place it down, let's call this a dexterity check to see how
Sleight of hand.
sleight of hand works. You know what? Good point. Yeah, let's do sleight of hand. I like that.
All right, I have no ranks in sleight of hand.
Ah,
So
you
it's a
would have been
dex
better
check.
off. So it is a
No,
dex
Right.
check.
it's just a dex check.
Okay. Perfect.
17.
17. You know, as you put the thing into place, you watch as you wait. Blade on your hand on your blades. Everything's silent. The ground begins to slightly rumble above ground.
All right, that's just a wine cabinet moving around.
And a moment goes by, and nothing seems to happen.
Wow.
To the
Shocking.
casters, give me a spellcraft check. As physically, nothing else happens. Roman, you can give me a spellcraft check. You might
Hey.
craft some or crit
My
somehow and
spellcraft's
make
not
it.
bad.
Yeah, you know.
Nat 20.
Damn.
Well, we got
got-
two
hold up,
nat
hold up.
20s.
Let me see.
Come on, Roman, you got this. Wait, let's see what you can do.
So
Oh,
close. So
almost.
that's a 19, by the way.
Oh, almost. As you three look about, Roman senses something being around magic casters. Maybe it's the magic rubbing off on him. Maybe it's the heroic title he's slowly becoming part of. Maybe it's the protagonist power we knew he always had as he was the main character. But something starts to click as he senses the room is a magical shift in the room coming from James's axe in his hand. To the other two of you, you sense as the curse on the axe suddenly dissipates, and the caster level 65 curse that was covering it vanishes and drops down to a caster level 9 item.
I did a good thing, guys. I'm bodyguarding.
As you both
Oh,
look
curse
over
is
at the
gone.
as you both look over at the axe and see it still reads Zonde protects, but James, give me a will save.
Son of a. Since this magical effect.
Yes.
Great.
I think something happened to the axe.
28.
Well, good news, you don't go unconscious. Bad news, you are about to be flooded with the worst migraine you've ever had, as suddenly visions start flooding your head. And instead of, dreaming about it like a sane person, suddenly you're standing there as you're, being bombarded with information, as you're hearing Roman trying to say something, Syndra talking to you, responding, but everything rushing in your ears as you hear yelling, shouting, panic, and worry. You see snowbeards rushing around, a giant beholder-like creature fighting what looks to be a massive demonic spider that looks to be the size of an ancient dragon at least, coming over the side of a cliff. Snowbeards running everywhere as this beholder holds its own. Two smaller beholders that seem to be standing to either side. One of them you recognize as Sarazeki immediately. The other seemingly just as powerful as the small Sarazeki, fighting off this creature as the snowbeards continue to run and hide to what look to be small caves and burrows into the ground. The screeches of this continues as this battle goes on, watching as this creature grabs snowbeards that are unfortunate enough to get in its way and tosses them either into its mouth or destroys them and eviscerates into bloody gore. James, it is horror. You have never experienced fear like this, and you've looked Zilpip in the eyes.
I've looked fucking demon lords from the 9 alignment weapons in the eyes.
This thing is caster level. This thing is caster level roughly 100 plus. As you sense this, this is a creature that is a god-like being walking in the earth, devouring and destroying as it does what looks to be suddenly as some creature rushes forward. What looks to be a young you, but better looking and in really good shape.
Grandsire, nice to see you.
As he rushes forward, a staff in hand, looks to be a long stick with a beehive on the end of it, a dragon skull slightly sticking out of it with a gemstone in its mouth of what looks to be yellowish coloration. As he waves it forward, and a blast of arcane energy explodes out that changes to divine magic. As James, you see the symbol of cataclysm come out of this magic. you begin to see as it follows a secondary symbol come out of the magic of a star beginning to expand and hitting the spider, pushing it back as this vision begins to fade and everything kind of comes back to you. As you see Syndra and Roman looking at you, waiting for you to respond as if you are standing there with an unanswered question in the air.
Well, has something happened to the sword?
Axe.
As James will then look very ill, stare at Rollman, axe,
Yes.
and I think
okay.
I just witnessed Grandsire slay a godlike spider.
Okay.
As James says godlike, you see as he seems to almost say something, but the words vanish and don't seem to echo out, as if he did not speak whatsoever. James, though, seemingly having no notice of it.
A godlike.
Oh, son of a bitch.
James looks up, hands on his temple, like angry.
I think James is cursed more today than the rest of his life.
I think so too.
Grandsire slayed something big, evil, that had 100. Well, I'm not gonna actually assume evil. Big, and that had roughly over 100 levels of a caster.
That's absurd.
Can I shadow puppet? If I use a light, can I shadow puppet a spider? And just look at him.
What are you doing, Cinder?
As Cinder goes up to, pulls a torch from outside, lets it kind of flare up, as he kind of puts his fingers in front of it, makes him dance like a spider on the side of the tomb.
James will nod.
Knew it.
Using this, and from his magic came the symbol of. Well, and James will tap the back of his neck, looking at Rolliman, who would know him.
I nod.
And
Okay.
the same symbol I saw on the star worshipper outside.
Awesome. Cool. Is that all they did? Like, give you vision, or did anything else happen?
I don't think I was supposed to remain conscious for that vision.
James, you get the weirdest feeling that you're missing context from this. I apologize, Grumpy, Roman, I did not mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you could. Well, at least you remained conscious then. Good job.
I don't think I have the whole story. Grandsire was wielding a staff with a beehive, a dragon skull, and a gem in the mouth of the dragon skull.
How specific? What's with bees?
Mead Mancer.
Oh.
Mead makers back in those times would have used hell wasps or other large bees to make honey to make mead.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just a tramp stamp of Rollman's face on the back of James's neck. James got it one night as a drunken bet, and he just doesn't remember.
It was very funny.
On top of that, there's the symbol. Good.
Should I remove this little griffin thing?
No, I think it's keeping the curse locked down.
Wait, curse? You did not say anything about a curse.
Axe is cursed.
Yeah.
Turn my bag to stone.
The axe, you know magic items have powers, right? Like based on how strong caster
Oh yeah, I
is.
know.
It went from a 65 to a 9.
Big difference. Should I see if I remove the thing again if the curse will come back? Because otherwise.
If you're doing that, I'm setting it on the ground
Sure,
and
yeah.
backing away.
As James quickly puts it down.
That's why I asked before literally just doing it.
That would have been funny as shit if you removed it, put it back in, you got the vision again. He's like, God damn it.
It's the vision, but
Traumatized.
backwards. What? No. Oh.
Wait, hold on. Let me hold the X, and I want to see the vision too.
The movie's rewinding. No.
All right,
No, I didn't
will,
rewind the movie before we went back to Blockbuster, guys.
No.
with the axe on the ground, I will remove the little griffin statue.
Okay.
And look to the casters to see if anything happened.
With the spellcraft from earlier, I will say you can all three sense nothing seems to change in the room. And for the other two, it does not change at all.
Is it the only thing that's missing from this room? Was that little statue thingy?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Problem solved.
Great.
All right. Before you pick it up again, I'll pick it up for safety.
All right, Rollman, give me a d20 check.
Oh.
What does that mean?
That's a good question.
Ooh.
All right, that'll be important for later, but nothing happens.
Okay.
I don't like that. I
Seeing as
don't
nothing-
like that.
Seeing as nothing happens, I'll just hand it to James.
All right. You get the weirdest sense, Rollman, of like something just happened that changed the timeline, but you don't know
God.
why. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
But
On that note, I do
yes.
this now, by the way.
No worries. As you start to head up, and we will begin next session at the start of the feast. We thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoyed.